I was muted. Moo-ha, ha, ha, ha. Giving everyone fair notice as I'm getting weird light behind me. This show intends to offend. If you are here to be conscious, aware, conscious application of the sacred, and all that other beautiful spiritual bullshit stuff, today is not that show. We intend to offend. Our first inaugural show came out 2 weeks ago, and the amount of recordings, the amount of people that have absolutely loved it, and David's particular section on religion, we will end our show with David having another shot at religion. But I want to welcome David Ellison and Monty Dean to our ongoing Intend to Offend comedy show.
Hello, Andrew. How's it going?
It is going good. We are here for our second show with an Intend to Offend. So everyone, sharpen up your offensing to utensils.
I do have a joke to set the tone of the evening, if I may.
Go ahead.
Okay. What is the worst thing you can hear while blowing Willie Nelson in an alleyway?
Ooh, what?
I'm not Willie Nelson.
Because he looks like a bum on the street.
Hey! I don't know if it's your past life. I'm not going to make choices. Judgments.
That's the truth.
So yeah, I thought I'll just throw that pebble down the side, and here we are.
David, why don't you sharpen up your offensing utensils, and what would you like to start with?
I was just informed that there's another shooting in Nova Scotia. You heard about Canada's mass shooting?
Yes, a roving mass shooting at that. He was very...
Do you know, the last time I tried to route through Canada, they would try to route me through Nova Scotia. I'm not landing there. I'm not landing there anymore.
No. Exactly.
What is the difference between a mass shooting in the United States and Canada? Like, is it more polite in Canada, or?
Yes, they say sorry afterwards. The guy says sorry afterwards.
No, there's some angry ass Canadians. Hey, somebody just shot all my friendly friends. Hey.
And it's the gunman got a French accent.
Yeah.
We want independence.
Like, how are there two big shootouts in Nova Scotia, the same place? What is going on up there?
Is it two separate ones or one that went into a bunch of different places?
Apparently, well, there was this guy who, let me tell you the story. So this guy has an argument with his girlfriend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently it doesn't go well, so he decides to tie her up and handcuff her. She escapes and runs into the woods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he got pissed off about that, so he decided to jump into his vehicle and drive around and start shooting people and burning down houses. So my question is, I would like to have been a fly on the wall as to what possible argument could spark that amount of shit. Okay.
David, it must have been about maple syrup.
You something. Like what could like inspire you to this go on a mass rampage? He was shooting everybody. People were walking on the roads and he was shooting them, huh?
Yeah.
I blame video games.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's the maple syrup. So somebody must have bought fake maple syrup that has corn syrup in it.
That GMO corn syrup.
Exactly.
Yeah, a GMO thing. I don't know what argument happened, but yeah, He off 22 people. 22 people.
Yeah,
Brought them
yeah.
to the end. That's
All
like, wow.
So if you're listening in the chat room here at Zoom, we want you to put in your comical theory of what the argument was that set off the shooter. And Robert, put up the information that allows people, if they're on YouTube or Facebook, Twitch or Twitter, Periscope, and they want to come to this comedy show here and be a part of the chat room, potential callers, etc., etc. Go to zoom.us. Your meeting number is 911-001-1974. And on the right side of the screen are the phone numbers for dial-ins. It allows you to listen. Same meeting number, 911-001-1974. So whatever network you're on, come on into the Zoom room for the next 2 hours of Intend to Offend comedy.
I like the meeting ID. 911 to start with, 911, like, please help. 001, very Matrix, and then my birth date. Like, okay. Wow. And also Australia is spelt wrong. Or not. Maybe it's in an accent. Australia. How do you
Australia.
say it?
I thought it was supposed to be. I thought it was supposed to be Austria.
No. I try and point that out with the National Socialists. It's like, we hate the Germans. No, you don't. For starters, it was led by an Austrian, and it's a political party. Leave the Deutschlanders alone.
You know, Germans are known for being the most practical people on earth. The only country that doesn't have a huge, well, they actually have no debt. But then you let an Austrian come in and bring your whole country into a mass murder state. Like, seriously? Like,
Yeah.
what happened there? Like, did you guys have a lapse in judgment? You just wanted to spice things up? Like, what the hell?
Hans, I'm getting bored, yeah? Let's try something else.
A black-haired, brown-eyed Austrian.
Yes. Well, if you go to pre-World War I history, there was a lot of cocaine. A lot of cocaine and a lot of snuff flowing around in those countries, plus a lot of lead in their water.
Yeah. Also, I've been told that a German gentleman read Mein Kampf or My Struggle, and apparently it makes more sense in English, which leads towards the conspiracy theory. It was written in English first and then got translated. Because I can see how the German people could follow Hitler, where he's so passionate and he's a great orator and he's putting a spell over. But I don't speak German, so I'm looking and going, that man seems very angry.
You also forgot the free beer he gave out.
Well, there is that, and as you pointed out, he was high on meth. Why did he turn into a genocidal fuckhead?
Because he was methed out, exactly.
Yep.
And they called it Vitamix. That's what they called it.
I have trouble trying to understand who he hated. Was it just the Jews, or was it just everybody who was not German?
Everyone who wasn't German. It wasn't.
But you're Austrian. What the like? Seriously, you're Austrian. What the hell?
He was adopted.
And the first place you invade is Poland. Like, seriously, what's up with that? Who the fuck has a problem with Polish people? Oh, right, the whole of England. Sorry about that.
Well, he was actually that. Now we're getting to the end of World War One, where the bankers screwed everybody over because the bit that he went through in Poland was German before World War One, and he was going to Danzig to reclaim that, and unfortunately Poland was in the middle, and yeah,
well, Hitler might have been colorblind. He only saw black and white.
And yet he sided with the Japanese.
Exactly my point. Like, seriously, talk about ethnic difference.
Yeah.
We do not like the Jewish people, the Aryan race, and those yellow chaps at the end of Asia. They're nice. We like them.
Yes. All right, so let's delve into some higher level comedy here. Let's really tune up our Intend to Offend silverware and have a comedic meditative moment. Oh, as we bring in the comedy gods. And if you guys are on Facebook or YouTube and want to come and join the chat here in Zoom, Robert will put up the information because we are going to be engaging the audience that's here in the Zoom call, as I have a corona cough. The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
So, did you just cough on a live broadcast?
I coughed on a live broadcast. Yes.
Don't you know that you can't cough anywhere now? That's a taboo thing. You know how many coughs were suppressed in the last month? You imagine being at Walmart, it wants to come out, right? You gotta stifle, you gotta swallow that. You gotta swallow it really deep inside and keep it inside and run outside until you're good.
Well, since I can't earn money, I'm actually going to open up illegal coughing rooms, where it's like backstreet alleys, and you can go in there and cough for an hour. Yeah, just 3 rolls of toilet paper, and you can cough for 15 minutes. I think it works out well.
So this poor sap, once again in Canada, because all the good stories are coming out of Canada, he made this joke of coughing on his money and giving it to a cashier, right? Well, his ass got arrested and got charged with mischief. Don't cough. The moral of the story is don't sneeze, don't cough, don't do any of that stuff.
There was a United States mother that took her kids out to a park, and they were staging a protest, and she got arrested in front of her kids and like 10 other people. Some serious stuff. They're arresting moms with their kids at the park.
And it's even worse than that. This poor shit, he went running and came across a park, right? And the park had a chin-up bar. So he decided, well, it's a chin-up bar. Mm-hmm. So he jumps over the fence, goes and does 3 chin-ups. It cost him $880. I want you to understand that in Canada, for instance. They ticketed him for $880 for 3 chin-ups. A year's membership at a full-fledged gym is less than that. Okay, you can go to the gym for 2 years, 3 years, right? That was just unbelievable. This poor guy, so he has to pay $880. This poor dad went rollerblading with his kids. Well, who told him to do that? Why are you rollerblading? That's an $880 ticket.
The guy that got arrested for jet skiing. Because he's out alone. He's alone out in the water, so clearly he's spreading the virus around. Well, and also golf as well. I mean, golf's been banned. If you want a game of social distancing, golf is the game. Correct. I mean, just look at the pants to start with. It's like, I'm not going near him. But for whatever reason, it's like, oh no, we can't have strange men running around. Well manicured lawns. I think the idea is like if someone's having fun, the rest of the masses may get ideas.
Right.
And then we have the orange man at office who's having his golf withdrawals and now started to have regular meltdowns in his 7 days a week news conferences.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He's losing it, huh?
Mm-hmm. He's going through a golf withdrawal meltdown.
I just had the image of him going like a junkie. Just one putt, man. Just one putt. Give me a putt. Come on. I'll be good.
When you start talking like my control is total. It's total. Total, I tell you. That was hilarious.
Big fat man with a red flag. Woo!
Hey, did you see these guys at the quarantine protesters?
Yes.
You guys saw that, right? From Now This.
Yeah. Most of those are paid provocateurs, though. Paid agent provocateurs.
Is that they're trying to cause revolution so they can clamp certain factions of the New World Order want trouble so they can go, look, we need to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not going to work.
More reasons to take our civil liberties away.
Yeah.
Really?
I didn't see it happening. At least a decade ago. I can't remember who said it. And if only I had someone who could read the Akashic Records to find out.
Well, there might be somebody around somewhere.
The cosmic librarian or some guy. Anyway,
cosmic librarian. That's hilarious.
The guy said if the New World Order got in, it would last 8 months because of how backstabbing and Nazi Germany on crack, and it's like the whole. We've seen Hillary Clinton try and navigate stairs. That's sort of the New World Order.
Dave, you want to take a shot at the New World Order and how effectively they work?
The New World Order. In order to have a New World Order, you would need to start with the order part first, right?
Yes.
Because you would need to start with the order part first. So what are we going to do today?
Create more bureaucracy. That's why it's
the same shit we've always done.
Exactly.
It's like the picky in the brain, right? The New World Order is like a picky in the brain. Like, shit, what are you going to do today? The same shit we did yesterday.
It'll be the New World bureaucracy.
Can you imagine trying to take over the world and then realizing, shit, we didn't change shit.
Well, they're doing it they're doing it very slowly via paperwork. You notice that's what it's like. See, we have papers. Yeah, we now rule you. Stop running away. What are you doing? Put that down. It's like I remember like the Superman sovereign aspect, not the spiritual sovereignty, but like I'm handing back my birth certificate. It's like, well, that's nice. It's just a piece of paper.
So Alan says NWA, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. The right hand knows exactly what the left hand is doing.
Well, they had...
And the left hand's disgusted. That's what
exactly.
it is.
It's jealous.
Yes, the left hand.
Exactly.
The left hand's a Jewish mother. Oh, he's doing that again.
You gotta go blind.
What are you doing? Stop that. We're trying to take over the world.
Right hand won't wash because it caught the coronavirus. The left hand caught the coronavirus.
I don't know if you've ever seen a hand cough. It's quite disturbing.
Can you imagine?
It's all right. I think the New World Order, it's all paperwork and bureaucracy, and it's like they're taking over the world. Have you seen government do anything apart from making humanity move forward because they suck? That's it. Because they could have done it. World War One, World War Two. It's 2020, and we've still got that we're being taken over, and there's controllers. And I like how David Icke said, ruled by psychopaths, run by idiots. And that's kind of where we're at with the New World Order. It's like, we're doing something special. Here's your drink. Sit down, have an orange.
Drink. Here's your sippy cup.
Enlighten me, guys. What exactly is the New World Order, in your opinion?
Ooh. I actually want to engage the audience here. Now, David is not up on the conspiracy theory as much as Monty and I am. So, Monty, why don't you go first, and everyone kind of quickly write into the chat room here at Zoom what you think, a quick explanation for David of what the New World Order is.
A group of people that didn't get enough hugs from their mother as a young child, and they believe that they're better than everyone else. And we're all useless eaters, and so they want to take over the planet and kill 6.5 billion of us so they can rule. Have you seen the Hunger Games? That's sort of what they want. That's what they think they are. What I find fascinating, they've been doing this for over a century, and they blame that humanity is a bunch of useless eaters, but they created the educational system which created the people. So it's a feedback. And they also they're 13 a lot of rich elite families that are interbred as well, and so it's a rabbit hole full of comedy because it's like we're better than everyone else. It's new.
So the New World Order is pretty much what has been going on for centuries then?
Since 1913 when they took over the Fed. Since pretty much they took over the Fed. And you can go back to the American Civil War when Lincoln basically got in office and they went to go free the slave, is ultimately when the Illuminati secret society scenario reached its peak and began mass recruiting governments all over the world, which then led to
the Illuminati. You mean the Brotherhood of Saturn? You mean those guys?
Yeah, but I want to real quick say Galaxy A20 says NWO is a multi-level marketing scheme, just on another level. Okay.
Yeah. No t-shirts. Yeah, they should have t-shirts.
So it's a bloodline-based concept, which is the 1%, the 0.1% that runs the 1% that creates mid-level marketers, which are governments.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and it's about control, basically, where they think, we're better than everyone else. We know what we're doing, and then you get George W. Bush.
Yeah.
So that's the people they put forward.
I would way rather have Bush right now than Trump.
That is true. That is very true.
At least
think about it carefully.
Right. At least Bush has compassion for dead people, let alone knows what compassion is.
But what is Trump like now, though? Because I think Trump, Bush back then, that would make sense. But it's been 12 years or whatever. 12 years. So who knows what he's like now, where he could be at Biden level. It's the fact, I don't know if it's a meme or an actual ad, but they've got Joe Biden and they've got that lens flare, but it's from his heart. And the actual says, it's like, don't worry about his brain. It's his heart that matters. And it's like, really? But if the brain's not on, what's the heart going to do?
Keep pumping and allow the AI to take over and run them.
Yeah, because
as I said before, it's better to have somebody with no brain than to have somebody with an evil brain in there. Think about it very carefully, right? Because that's what is the worst that he can do? Actually, you know what? I take that back.
Yeah,
I take that back. Yeah, the US, you guys are in serious problems there, Andrew. You guys are like, it's a no-win situation each way you look.
Don't be surprised in 3 weeks if you get we're invading Greenland because it's green.
Why y'all taking the piss out of poor Joe Biden? Is he going to win?
It's so easy. It's
No.
so easy though.
No way he's gonna win. Trump's got it in the bag unless he has more clear ass meltdowns on air.
But look, this man has done so much shit.
Yeah.
Come on,
because it's pretty certain that Biden's gonna choose Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas as his running mate, which guarantees Trump a win.
Yeah, because there's so much that you could say about her, right? Yeah.
Right.
Well, Biden needs to stop sniffing females on camera. There's footage of him groping and smelling and licking children. And that's supposed to be the leader of integrity. He also doesn't remember where he is.
Yeah, but he's not doing it with any kind of malice.
Right.
He probably mistook them for a lollipop or one of those
and Trump's
gingerbread man or something.
Trump's grabbing pussy. He got through that one.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Let me explain what has happened to people's consciousness. There's a saying that we used to say back in army days: when your reputation is at rock bottom, there's nowhere else that you can fall. Okay? So he has the comfort place of being at rock bottom. So if Trump gets up tomorrow and decides, well, I've decided that I'm going to leave Melania and I'm going to start fucking sheep, people would get over that too. Well, he's fucking sheep. It's Trump, right? Go Trump. Trump 2020.
That's so Trump. That is so Trump. I told you. Yeah, everyone that hates Trump will go, see, look. And the pro-Trumpers, I would say most of them would say, well, it's his choice and we have to respect that.
Trump, 2020.
Hey, Caligula made a horse a congressman.
That is true. That is true.
Yep.
Trump 2020, my God.
Trump.
The irony, the irony of 2020 elections where you have 2020 vision is just not lost on me at all. Look, this is, oh my freaking God, look at that.
Creepy.
Look at the look at the face. Look at the look at the face.
Yeah, but it's like there's some resignation. It's like, yep, he's doing it again. It's like, yeah.
She's going, where's my taser?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tase you in the nuts.
Exactly.
So it went after the coronavirus, there'll still be social distancing just for Joe Biden because you still have to stay 6 feet away from him. He also he couldn't see the difference between his wife and his sister. Make up your jokes there as you go along. And he also couldn't remember God, and he referred to it as, that thing. That's how to get the Christians.
Care, right?
Yeah,
my kind of guy.
Christians with that in the thing we trust.
Yeah, but remember that Trump said on a live television broadcast that he thought Ivanka was really hot. Like, who says that about their kid? Who the fuck says that about their kid?
Well,
Trump-
yeah, I think
Trump does. Trump does.
I'm sure he meant she was beautiful, but it's Trump's filter, which is like getting a brand new TV and then dropping it down a flight of stairs, and then it's still watchable. Like, oh, all right, that's an interesting view. So it's, but you know, it's like that did come across. That's bad optics. It's like, you know, I would have sex with my daughter. Woo, okay. I'm just gonna back
Too
up.
much.
That's
Too
new.
much information.
Yeah. Like,
No filter. Yeah. No,
it's
honestly.
huge. It's big.
So, in terms of the elections 2020, who are the groups do you think that will vote which way? So, let's start with the groups that we talked about last time. Whitelighters, what do you think they're going to vote?
They're not. Most of them aren't.
Why
Most
is
of them
that?
aren't, because they won't choose the lesser of two evils.
Yeah,
Now,
they see the corruption.
The
The corruption.
now the hardcore Whitelighters, if they're pro Q, they're all over Trump, because Q is going to save their ass from the. David, do you know about the QAnon conspiracy?
No, tell me. I'm out on conspiracy theories.
Ooh, but real quick, so I under the thing. So if they're pro Q, they're going to be all over Trump. If they're not Q, they're not more than most of them won't vote. The light
As
workers.
in Q, as in that being in Star Trek?
No, Q as the pro-Trump conspiracy theorist, more than likely started by Trump, that basically says future proves past by dumping all this swamp data information over and over again, basically saying mass arrests of the global elite and the baby rapers is coming, and the next FISA board release, and the Horowitz report. Yeah, go ahead, Monty. Add to what Q is.
Yeah, trust the plan, trust the plan, trust the plan. Well, I would if I knew what the fucking plan was. Pardon my French, but it seems to they keep releasing information and things happen. So it's someone behind the curtain, but it's the Q movement, and where in a way it may be controlled opposition. If you look at it, or false hope, where it's like instead of actually taking the power back, it's trust the plan. Trump's your savior. It's the savior complex and all that type of stuff. And he's been around. They think it's a he. It could be a conglomerate. The latest theory for it is it's actually John Kennedy Jr. He didn't actually die in the plane crash, and he's part of Q, and they're here to save the world.
From the Democrats, who are all going to get arrested in these mass arrests because they're all corrupt. The Clinton Foundation is a Satan worshiping, baby sacrificing group. And this is what Q said, basically says this stuff. And there's going to be mass arrests, and then they're going to reset the economy, and there's going to be a jubilee.
Okay.
Yeah, and David, I think I'm going to use this footage because your reaction to this is perfect. How to get around conspiracy theories? You're just like, what do you want? Can I have some? Because this is fantastic.
Fantastic shit. And I'm like, who has the time for this shit? Really?
Oh, well,
I see this guy in the guy in the photo, this big Q around his neck, and I'm like, why are you out there?
So Trump regularly tweets and retweets quotes from Q. And so obviously Trump is in on the gig here. And he uses it to rile his people up. And by put out these self-fulfilling prophecies, when they're saying future proves past, no, self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay. And yes, there's some freaky things that the guy does put out, but it's because he's got some kind of information. But he's so anti-Democrat. He's basically saying that all the Democrats are baby raping Satanists, and that they're all gonna go, and be arrested.
Oh, so they're basically having more fun than you are.
Yeah.
I can see why you'd be upset about that.
And trust the plan. You got to trust the plan. I'm not telling you what the plan is, but you have to trust it.
Exactly.
And
which
the
is
coronavirus,
which is trust Trump. Trust the plan means trust Trump.
And the coronavirus was released to either take down Trump, take down the New World Order, bring in a New World Order. I'm going with Andrew. It's probably been released. Well, we've seen the gift that keeps on giving. It's pushing things forward. However, during these trials and tribulations in the moment of now. They're saving all these kids from the underground bases in, like, that's why New York was hit, and there was hundreds of thousands of kids coming out of the ground that are being broken out from this pedophile ring. Now, I'm not saying that human trafficking doesn't exist, but the way they put it forward, it sounds like a Marvel movie, if I can explain it that way.
David's just dumbfounded.
No, I just had this image of Trump with Thanos' body on him. I'm like, yeah, no.
Did you do it? Yes.
Yeah, the purple body, purple body with this orange hair on.
Yes.
Like,
so this is my planet.
On a regular basis, Trump tweets about Q, and then Q tweets about Trump. So it's a Twitter-born conspiracy that used 4chan to put out its data dumps. And then when 4chan went down because the modern news didn't like it, they went on to 8chan. And then 8chan went down for the longest time. So he only puts information out on 8chan now. So that's the only way you can find his data dumps that he puts out. But he puts out these things that he wants people to intentionally decode based off of the shit that he's put out since 2017, which is a psyop right there.
Yeah.
Decode, buy in.
Yeah. The way I see it is it's fascinating to watch, because I'm sure for a lie to be effective, you need about 80% of truth, and then you've got the bits to manipulate it and push it around. But it's the same, like, I think there was a guy called Drake, and we've heard all this stuff for about 10, 15 years, that there's these medical beds, and there's going to be a reset, and there's all this hopium they push out to just, it's controlled opposition psyop. And the latest version of it is Q. Which is fascinating, because I made that connection as well. It's like, what, like the guy from Star Trek? It's like, no. And it's
it would be much cooler if it was the guy from Star Trek.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Oh hell yeah,
shit would get done. Okay.
It would make more sense, actually, what's going on if it's Q fucking around. Like, hey, humanity, try this. But it's another divide and conquer. Instead of trying to get everyone in. Holo in the chat is Kim Jong-un. Well, he's now Kim Jong-il. Yeah, so who knows?
Kim Jong coma.
You know, I kind of wonder and try to layer things. So you have the Democrats who are, I have to say, because Trump runs roughshod over them, they're like this spineless bunch of...
They're his bitches.
This spineless bunch of people. And their excuse for being spineless is something along the lines of, we're taking the high road. There is no high road with Trump. Okay? There's no fucking road. There's no fucking road to start with. There's no road to start with. There's no high road with Trump. Yeah. Okay? So whatever high road you think you're taking, that's an illusion in your mind. And then you have Trump and his guys who are like the bullies in the schoolyard, right?
The ones that like to yell at all of their statements. Yes.
And then you have the people in the middle who are just wondering what the fuck is happening. Yeah. So like, what's happening? So I'm wondering exactly how does this play out? Okay, because you have Joe Biden. If he assumes the presidency, we have a problem. If Trump assumes the presidency, then you have a very, very, very big problem for the next 4 years. You know what this man could do in 4 years?
He can destroy the world, run the economy to zero.
Well, I can answer it. If Joe Biden becomes president, he won't know what he could do in 4 years. He can't. He doesn't know what he can do in 4 days.
Yeah, I don't know what is scarier, the known or the unknown. Because the unknown is very freaking scary. Okay.
And the interesting thing about the Democrats is there's factions and splits where like the people wanted Bernie Sanders, the Yoko Ono of hip hop. He broke up Public Enemy. Never forget that. But there was like Tulsi Gabbard and Marianne Williamson, and I'm not sure if they would end up being president, but they seem more sane. And there's a fracture in the Democrats. This is the problem with a two-party system. It's like, do you want to be punched in the face? Oh, punched in the face. Like, I'd like
punched in the face or kidney punch.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, well, can we just have a handshake? It was like coronavirus, pal.
No.
Punch or punch.
I suspect Biden's been punched in the face one too many times,
Yes.
honestly. So,
So the other David, the other thing is Q is very 911 was an inside job thing also.
okay.
And Obama's birth certificate.
Yeah, and Obama's birth certificate is fake.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Obama is a Satanist, and Michelle Obama is a transgender, started out as a man and is a transgender robot.
Are you sure QAnon is not Alex Jones?
There are a lot of hybrid theories that they all share.
Because that sounds kind of familiar. I used to watch Alex Jones just to amuse myself because I love that shit. Okay, it's a guilty pleasure for me. I love listening to this man, and especially when he says the frogs are gay, and then he that was hilarious. And then he came on to the show with a 50 caliber gun, and he was shooting it off of his zip, right? Except it's a heavy thing. It's a mounted gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's holding it by his testicles and he's pressing the trigger, right? So it's giving him the kickback, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his hips are swaying backwards and forwards. And I'm like, you have so many issues. Oh my God. It's like watching a train wreck.
Yeah.
So he has this long gun in front of him, right? And he's shooting off 50 caliber rounds, right? And I'm like, I love this shit. You cannot get this kind of comedy anywhere else.
Have you heard the theory that Alex Jones is actually Bill Hicks? This is the interesting about conspiracy theories, like shit in, shit out. They look at it and it's like he's got the same type of jaw, and around this time, because Hicks died. And then 4 or 5 years later, Alex Jones got popular. And so make him a disinfo agent, they got Bill Hicks in and to follow that. And for me, he's not Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks is funny. Alex Jones, not so much. So
he is very funny. You just haven't gotten into it yet, man. Like really,
I did 10 years. I did 10 years ago.
No, but seriously, he came on a broadcast with the shirt off. Who does shit like that? Selling like
someone that's losing their mind.
Right. Yes, exactly. It's wonderful, right? It's like
you just want to see a train wreck. That's your problem.
That's for sure. And he sold these special wipes that you could wipe your perineum with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what the fuck is this, right? I'm like, what is going on, right?
Do you know why he came on the show without his shirt on?
No.
Because Putin was going everywhere without his shirt. On the horse, killing a bear, rescuing children with his shirt off. Okay?
I missed that Marvel. Sorry, go ahead.
No, is Alex Jones married to a woman?
He was. Who's Israeli? Jewish or Israeli?
Jamie Suss says the art of clowning with the Hegelian dialect. Awesome line. Clowning with the Hegelian dialect. That is what Alex Jones is doing.
Like, I don't understand. Honestly, I really liked this. And the people that followed him are now disgraced as well. There were a whole bunch of people that followed him. Yeah. I love watching right-wing broadcasts. What the hell? Oh, I see. I see.
One of the biggest Joe Rogan shows is when Alex Jones returned, and it went for 4 hours. And I think Joe asked 2 questions. It's just Alex. And interesting enough, I think it was during the divorce of Alex Jones. His lawyer in court said that the Alex Jones is a character and it's just for entertainment. And I think that was so he could get out of certain things in the court case.
No, there is no character there. That's how this man is. If you see this man acting in real, like, seriously, like when he loses his mind, it's very, very genuine. And
yes. But it's interesting in the Joe Rogan one. He doesn't have that. Andrew, help me out. It's like even every stand-up comic, they put on a face, like they put on an act when they're it's still them, but there's a sort of a lens when they go on stage. if that makes sense.
And he has a script.
Yes.
And he does practice where I'm going to go off the hook on. There have been plenty of things that have come out where it showed his practice lines too. Just like when Stephen Colbert did Colbert, and he was the super right-wing guy that always backfired on himself. It's just like WWE wrestlers are the same thing. They may not be that guy in the character, but it's them with a high level of accentuation to them.
Yes.
Okay, guys, which group shall we decide to take the piss out of first of all?
Let's have the audience vote. So if you are listening to us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, you can come on here to the Zoom room, zoom.us, and the room number is 911-001-1974. And if you want to dial in to listen anywhere in the world, US, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, and anywhere else in the world, come on into the zoom.us room. So people that are in the chat room, we're going to take a vote here. What do you want us to take the piss out of?
We are open to anything. Oh, yes, I had a bone to pick with Reiki the last time. Oh, my God. So before we start this, I should probably say that I'm a Reiki master and Andrew's a Reiki master as well.
Yep.
So when I take the piss out of Reiki people, I am
going to do it hard. We're going to do it hard. Reiki people that are in the Zealot Whitelighter thing, bend over or get offended or get out.
Bend over and take the light. Okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Take the light. Bend over and take the light. I'm going to choku-ray you.
Grab your ankles and think of England. All right.
Choku-ray.
All right. So let me see if I get this correct. We all learned Reiki, but some of us actually have an idea of how anatomy works. So if somebody has a stroke and you're Reikiing their arm that is not working, you might want to know that the problem is in their brain, all right? But don't worry. There's an argument for that, Andrew. The argument is the Reiki energy is intelligent and it knows where to go. Is that code for I don't know what the fuck I'm doing?
That's code for light worker etiquette of I'm dumb, and this is what I tell the people that are dumber than me.
I am going to take the piss out of Reiki people because I have seen this more than once. I am like, you guys, what's with the white light shit, okay? Like, we all did the work and there's no actual work. So whenever you get into an argument with a white lighter, it's like the universe knows all. It's the same way you get into an argument with a Christian. I don't want to go there right now, all right? And they tell you, well, the word of God says this, so what am I to do? I don't have to argue with you because I know what like, seriously? When I speak to white lighters, it actually raises my blood pressure. And I'm like, you're supposed to be doing a service and bringing light to humanity, but now I just want to fucking kill you. Okay? So how is that helping? How is that helping me? How is that helping me, right? Because their argument pattern, they can't argue. They can't retort. And they say arguing is a negative thing. So I won't argue with you.
What is it that your sister told you all the time you hated?
Yeah, my opinion, your opinion is not necessarily my reality. Your opinion is not necessarily my reality. So white lighters have this version of arguments. They can't even discuss. And I have a problem with that because honestly speaking, I like discussions. I like having a ball and you throw it against the wall. You expect the ball to come back, right? You don't expect the ball to hit the wall and drop. Yeah. But this is what talking to a white lighter is like, right?
David, the ball goes through a portal and enters another dimension and never comes back.
And just before enlightenment, you find out what dimension that is, and it's a planet just full of all these balls.
Yes, that's come from all the light workers.
The thing
who are sentient, and it's like, please don't let us go back. Please don't. We want to stay here. We can't stand Sunflower anymore. She's so annoying. And I'm going to
take the piss out of women who are white lighters who believe that they are the paragons and defenders for other women. Let me just tell you, if you are a divorcee and your husband hates you, your kids probably hate you, you might not be the leader that women are looking for. I'm just going to say that. Okay?
I'm
And
going to go even further.
I'm going to be offensive as shit. Like this, I'm going to just be offensive. You may not be, but Andrew, you've seen this with me, haven't
many
you?
times.
Women take up the mantle of being the leaders of women.
David, we get them as business offers where they come and say they want to come and do work with us and they want to start these women's group. And it also turns out
every day.
Yeah, every day.
Every day we get offers of people trying to they say I'm a paragon for women's virtues and so on. Listen to me very carefully, okay? Mm-hmm. Women's liberation was not built on the concept that I have a womb and you don't understand. You make me understand by you talking to me, okay? Don't make me understand by you saying, oh, you don't understand, so I'm going to take my other women, we're going to go off into the forest and run around naked because we're free. We're wild women and free. I want to direct your attention to, I'm not going to say the name because really and truly, a certain women's spiritual sect called blank blank of the rose. And I know you guys, can we say this?
Yes.
Priestess of the Rose. Mm-hmm. Go look at it. Go look at it. Mm-hmm. So they're bringing in all different gods from everywhere. There are 2 white girls bringing in gods from Egypt, Sumeria, and whatever else. I want to explain something to you guys, okay? We're not being chauvinist by making fun of women. We invited a woman on the show to join us, right?
3 times in a row.
Right? We invited a woman in the show 3 times to join us. But I want to explain to you guys that really and truly, if being a woman equates to having an attitude, then you're going to have a problem with that, yeah? And we're going to take the piss out of you every day of the week, every day, not just Friday. Okay? I have, we had the last Whitelighter who came to talk to us, said that she wanted to be a voice and paragon for women's virtues. You remember that, Andrew? What became of that? If your life is in a mess, you can't be becoming a leader for other women. You just can't. You shouldn't. Right. You can, but you shouldn't.
You can't start off the conversation by divorce isn't finished yet.
No. Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of women suffer at the hands of this. I went to a spiritual retreat some time ago, and there was a woman there who had spiky energy, is all I can say. You know, like when you meet certain people and they have thorns all over them?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it turns out that she's had a bad experience with men. So I asked her what she did, and she says, well, I'm a sex therapist. I burst out laughing in her face. I couldn't stop. I burst out laughing immediately, right? I couldn't, she's like, what's so funny? All right, I said, I can't imagine you as a sex therapist. Mm-hmm. She says, well, what is that supposed to mean? I'm like, no, you don't seem like the type.
See, David, that's where the prime creator God, he's playing some jokes with some of these odd stereotypes that are out there, be it man or woman. I mean, because men have just as bad stereotypes as the women. The women have just stepped up to a whole new level of strange and unusual during this time. And, you know, you talk about these people that want to come and start these women groups. And I always tell them it comes down to paid friendships. And no woman wants to join a paid friendship group. That's why they all break down. They start backstabbing. You got to learn to be friends and communicate to them. You can't just, I want to have a women's group once a week where everyone brings a potluck dinner. Do that in your backyard. You don't do that on air. It costs money to put these shows on.
Also, very quickly, you refer to as the prime creator as a he. As a male feminist, I'm offended.
Okay, as a male feminist.
Yeah. He likes that. That's all right. That's what I find. I try and skip out. If you want to skip out of racism and just read headlines, just refer instead of a black man and an Asian, just
oh
read
my
human.
God, the political correctness is gone awry.
Just go human. Because I remember like the second wave of feminism, that was about equality. third, fourth, I think we're up to fourth wave, and like, really, it's they got basically got equality, but they're still angry, and now they want to control. They're acting like men. Have you noticed that the feminism today are basically acting like men?
Yes.
And it's if you fight monsters, be careful you become them. So how do you say it, Andrew? If you look in the abyss looks into you. I think
that what you look at looks back at you. And unfortunately, a lot of those women are still suffering from penis envy, like Freud said.
He had a hot mom.
Not if they have a strap on, they're not, and a lot of them are.
Yeah, but you got it
that way, you know.
But yeah, I'm not a feminist or whatever.
Once again, God, Prime Creator, whatever you want to call it, saying, let's roll the dice and see how they respond to this shit.
Exactly my point. I think a lot of these groups have been hijacked by what we discussed on the last show, the social justice element.
And the woke, and the 5 different levels of wokesters who are running those groups.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, the false awakened.
They're still in high school. It's all about ego and look what I'm doing. Virtual signaling or grandstanding and all that type of stuff. And it's infecting entertainment. And I'll condense because I could probably ramble for 3 hours, but people don't want to hear that.
Do these people realize how irritating they are to people?
No. And if you get upset with them, they're offended because obviously you hate that they exist, and you become an enemy, and it's fuel for their strength to move forward and destroy you because you're an ism, phobeist, or bigot.
That is correct. And you know what else that I found? There's a sort of social spite going on. So if I don't agree with you, you're going to get a bunch of people together and boycott my company and boycott this and boycott that. Like, seriously?
Mm-hmm. That's why the fifth level, the awakened being, doxes everyone.
Cancel culture. And it's fascinating when going back to Biden, he's had a couple of women come out with a Me Too moment. And everyone that's believe women, and then they endorsed Biden, and then Biden he has a Me Too moment, and it's like, oh no, we have to follow the 180. That's the other thing that you can see. There's not integrity. It's like, one set of rules for us and another set of rules for them.
Biden is that is a something that a lot of these people don't actually process that kind of stuff. I've tried to discuss stuff with social justice nuts. I have, but there's nothing to discuss, really and truly. You got some people who are just like so dumb. They're like Whitelighters in a sort of way, and they hijack the Whitelighter movement, and they hijacked every other movement.
That's what they do.
I'm like, why?
Well, it's they're an actual disease or virus. They infiltrate anything, be it Whitelighters to say Star Wars fandom or Star Trek fandom. They come in saying that this is wrong, racist. There should be more representation. I want to see a gay Inuit amputee as a major character. I just described Wolverine from XMen, by the way, and. Then once they get what they want, they go fair enough. Oh, see, no one likes it because it's all this narrow PC crap, not about storytelling, and they don't buy merchandising or go see it. They just want political change. And once the IP, the intellectual property, has been infested and crumbles, they just move on to the next one and do the whole same thing over and over again. And it's in a way, they're destroying things so they can be right.
I would like to probably invite any social justice person to come onto the show and have it out with us. Please come on to the show.
So no gay penis amputee people pretending to be. Somebody sent me that in a private message. I'm like, oh no.
People have been cancelled because a woman got fired because she said that women don't have penises in the United Kingdom. This is the level of stupidity. You're in Canada. You know the level of stupidity with Castro's
yeah.
son. I mean, Prime Minister Trudeau.
Yes.
Like, and it's like, is he? Just have a photo of Trudeau and Castro at the same age, and it's like, wow. Either that or the cloning went wrong because he's a bit paler.
This thing has gotten really bad everywhere. It's not all over Canada, but in the metropolitan areas like Toronto and most of Greater Ontario, it is very, very bad. It's so bad that there was a bit of an issue. Now there's a bit of an issue where they're passing legislation to criminalize certain kinds of behavior, like calling people at a wrong gender pronoun, which is a bunch of shit, really.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's walking around with a dick, what am I going to call it?
Well, whatever they like to be referred to. I'm just being nice.
Dickhead.
But...
Nice one, Santo. Dickhead.
But it shouldn't be regular. It shouldn't be a government thing. It's like, you're free to do what we tell you. It's like, this person is one way and they like to be called this. And if you call them that, we're putting you in jail. It's like, oh, calm down. There's
How did we get here?
Yeah. You're ignoring everything. There's drugs on the streets and there's corruption through the system. Violence is high. Everything's like, no, seriously, it's about pronouns. How dare you? Now, if we get the pronouns right, domestic violence will drop by 80%.
No, it won't.
I know. That's the silliness of it. It's like, what on earth? And also, I'm just thinking of Justin Trudeau. He's got a very punchable face. He looks like a whack-a-mole. Yeah, it's like...
He does.
And Canadian Secret Service, it's a joke. I don't want to punch him in the face. I don't want to be in the same room as him because I don't know. He may dress up. Have you noticed? He never dresses a Canadian outside of Canada. There you go. Yeah, fine.
Canada, nice one. Kind of like Austria being called Australia. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Apart from that group, what we have in Canada now is a younger crowd who have blended the sexual preference spectrum.
Ugh.
So everything is this one big goo. You remember when we were in school, when we were younger, long time ago, we had a situation where we were thinking we just wanted to be okay. It's now fashionable to be gender fluid, which means that your sexual preference can range from anything that moves or breathes and has eyes and whatever, right? But what it is that it's become a fashionable thing. Now you have a young student, a friend of mine, his son came out as gay, but still wants to date women, right? So one asks, you can't be gay and dating women. Are you gay or are you not?
Yeah.
He says, well, I'm gender fluid. And you ask the question, what really is the story there? But when he spoke to me, because I don't really mince matters and I'm politically incorrect, as we all know, you know what it came out as? It's fashionable to be gay now.
It is.
So I'm going to be gay.
Yeah, it is very fashionable. It gets you a lot more dates. Anyways, Robert, add Santo to the call here.
What I find interesting as well is I know someone who actually came out and said, guys, I'm straight.
Whoa.
They came out straight.
Whoa.
That's the level we're at. It's like, I'm completely natural and part of the evolutionary scale. I don't know how to deal with that.
I need special counseling in a safe room.
Yeah.
With a dog.
You're on.
Santo, are you there?
I'm here, Andrew. The only one I can understand is Monty, being a fellow Aussie.
Well, engage your offensive tools and let's cut the piss out of the universe here.
I'm horribly offended by a lot of what you guys have said. I don't know when to laugh and when not to. It's kind of like, where the hell are they going?
Oh, we're going anywhere we want. You want to know why? Because we're free.
We're free. We're going to hell.
We're going to hell for sure.
Well, I'm not. I'm not going to Chicago.
Monty, you're going to Hindu hell as we've established the last time with your blue god comment.
Smurf Christ, get it right. It's Smurf Christ.
Smurf Christ.
Well, as they say, hello in reverse is oh hell, so why not?
Which backward? Why not backwards is Tony?
So, Santo, you're from Australia?
I sure am.
Australia.
I
Okay.
sure am. Sunny Queensland, plenty of sun here. So if you're having problems getting the sun that Trump was talking about, I got a big backyard and we'll all be cured of corona.
Santo, what is your biggest peeve, your greatest peeve in life?
My greatest beef in life is not being able to actually say something and not get beat up about it. So I don't know what to say because I think I might just get beat up. That's my beef.
No.
Well, this is a safe space for you. You won't get beat up here. It's okay to say what you want to say here. No social justice people here.
I don't know, Andrew. You did a lot of ass whipping yesterday.
Yes, I had my roaster out.
They asked for that. It's been documented. They actually said, "Please roast me." So he was just following orders, just like every good minion. So
Yeah, well, sometimes you kind of put your foot in it, and you wish you did say it, but you didn't say it that particular way. So it's kind of like, how do you say something?
Give us an example. Give us an example, Santo.
yeah, you do, before you
Give us an example. Let it out, Santo. Come on. This is very pertinent.
I know exactly what you guys are doing. You just tried to rope me in to hang myself.
Confess. Confess. Power of Christ compels you to confess.
There is a story there, and we need to hear it. Look, don't be bound up.
Well, look, just the way Andrew put his hand out there reminded me of those evangelical preachers, trying to draw me in. He just tried to draw me in to save me. Look, I'm okay.
And full of sincerity. Place your hands on the computer and feel my sincerity, and then send money too. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's actually just the short and the wiring system. But no, I don't have a lot to say. I'm enjoying what you guys are doing. I'm just here being the neutral observer.
Okay, so let's talk about these prosperity gospel preachers. It's called the prosperity gospel. So let me ask you a question. If I'm a priest and I am preaching the prosperity gospel, but then you have to send me money, am I a good example?
Absolutely.
Kinda.
You've done your job.
You have some idiot priest call himself Creflo Dollar. I kid you not, I could not make that shit up. His last name is Dollar, Creflo Dollar, but he has a huge following. Please explain it to me. What is wrong with people? I don't understand.
Don't forget 2 Citation 10 jets he got all on donation. Not
because
one,
God needed him to have 2 planes. But why do you need more than 1 plane? You can't use them at the same time.
He has 2 butt cheeks.
God told him to have 2 jets. Literally, God came down and said, Creflo Dollar, you need 2 jets. 1 is not enough.
Yeah, well, which God?
Yes,
actually, I've got a real story. This is a true story. I used to live in Israel on a kibbutz many years ago, and I had a van that I'd driven through Europe, this Mercedes van, and it was a diesel van, and then I had to get back to England. And in Israel, you couldn't sell diesel vans to the public because you could only sell petrol. So I had a bit of a problem. And there was this missionary group up in northern Israel, and they said, hey, our leader is looking for a van like this. And I said, well, that's good. I'm having trouble selling it. So off I went to Jerusalem, and 2 guys are there. And I say, look, your people said you're looking for a van. They said, sure are. Anyway, how much? 10,000 shekels. And they said, oh, we just got to pray to Jesus. We'll be back in a minute. And they literally went in another room. 5 minutes later, they come out and said, Jesus said to give you 5,000 shekels. And I said, so you're offering me 5,000 shekels? No. Jesus said to give you 5,000 shekels. I said, look, you haven't even looked at it. It may not have an engine. Oh, no, we trust Jesus. And I thought, you're offering me 5,000 shekels. I'll take the 5,000 and off I go. A few years later, I was back in Israel. I bumped into these guys and I said, how was the van? I'd driven this van all through Europe. They said, we went on a pilgrimage into the Negev desert. What happened? The engine blew up and they left the van there. So the irony of manifestation comes in many ways. So Jesus manifested the van and the engine blew up in the desert. True story. Yeah.
So
Teaching them a lesson. Jesus doesn't know how to haggle.
Had Jewish parents though. You think you anyway? Weird.
Oh no! You're going to Jewish hell as well. You're going to Jewish hell as well. You're going to Jewish hell as well.
There's a T-shirt idea, Andrew. You know, all the different hells: Hindu, Jewish, Christian, and I'll slowly tick them off.
What do you think the differences between the different hells? So we know that Christian hell is a lake of fire. With a guy with a huge pitchfork that pricks you in the butt wherever you try to sleep or whatever. All right. But Hindu hell, what do you think that is like?
It's a massive
7-Eleven. 7-Eleven.
A massive 7-Eleven.
With a Slurpee machine that doesn't work.
And the ATM's broken and all the prices are 3 times as high.
Yeah, and every time you call, you get this guy on the phone for customer service that you can't understand.
Yep.
Right.
Pop up windows that sell you files you don't need.
Islamic hell, tell me.
Oh, Islamic hell? Oh, I don't know.
So instead of getting 72 virgins, you're gonna get 72 harlots. Oh
no, you're gonna get 72 LBGTQs.
SJWs, yeah.
You get to pick between your 72 LBGTQs.
So this is the most homophobic religion, right? Can you imagine going to hell with a bunch of bodybuilders who are all gay, and you're the only one that's not?
I'm big fat hairy guys. G'day.
Can somebody explain purgatory?
And Jewish hell?
Purgatory?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
the DM.
explain.
That's DMV, isn't it? Or
No,
Vic Roads
it's the middle place that you go to, right?
That's when the waiting line to see St. Peter is really long, and they send you to purgatory.
It's kind of
Also,
like detention for bad people.
So this is going to be a joke for Australians. So it's trying to get into a Centrelink office. See, yeah, Santa got it, but sorry, local reference. Centrelink is the government office that deals with payments as well as unemployment and welfare. And everyone, they shut down the country. Everyone lost their job, and so thousands of people are trying to get into one door, and try and be 1.5 meters away from each other. It's fascinating going shopping now. You see all these X's near each other to line up, and have you noticed the coronavirus can't jump sideways? It's only forwards and backwards.
Well, coronavirus believes in flat Earth. That's why.
Oh, yes, I've seen that. Yeah, that's why 5G doesn't work. 5G only works for flat earthers because the frequency goes like that. But on a spherical Earth, the frequency just goes off into space.
Ever since you guys told me about this flat Earth thing, that this was a thing, I went researching it because I'm that kind, right?
Oh, you're not turning, are you?
So they actually do have conventions, apparently,
all around the globe.
And let me ask you a question. If I believe that the sky was pink, why would I need a convention to convince me that, what? Because I'm going to get a bunch of people together to tell me this? Why do you need to do that?
I thought you weren't into conspiracy.
No, I'm not. But hell, this is interesting as hell. And extreme. Look, Santo, I look for any kind of amusement in life right now. Okay, so
including conspiracy.
Yes, because that's amusing as hell, just like Alex Jones. Tell me, why do they do that?
Well, have you heard of Amway?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like, I can do this. And maybe in the subconscious, they know they're wrong and they have to try and convince everyone else. It's fascinating. They go, look, the earth is flat and that proves there's a God. And like the mental gymnastics to get from A to B is fantastic. It's like, well, I can see that in a flower that the prime creator is there through the Fibonacci sequence, and I'm alive. But apparently, because we're on a flat plane encased in a firmament that looks like a snow globe, that's the proof of God. And the one thing I bring up is like, why not tell people that we are on a flat Earth? What is the point of this? Because even if it's true, we could come up with a better lie. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, all that information from the sun and the telemetry, that's all made up every day.
Flying spaghetti monster.
Oh yes, now all praise the flying spaghetti monster. Do not take any impasta.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand why you need to actually. If you believe that the earth is flat, then that's your beef. That's your thing, right? Why is it that you have to make a general statement about it? So you print your T-shirts and you have your conventions. I mean, you are totally within your right to do so, right? But seriously, why?
It comes down like it's a form of religion or psychopathic thing like that, where it's I'm right and you're wrong, and I'm rebel in it, because like that's the problem with you can never have a conversation with a flat earther. Well, you can for about 3.5 sentences. If you say no, science shows, and by then you said you've stopped and you've been insulted, and you've been duped, and they get really. Andrew, help me out. Why is it that they project out? Because I think on a subconscious level they know they're wrong, and so they're fighting with themselves, aren't they?
So instead of daddy issues, they've got prime creator issues.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Big Daddy in the sky.
And in all truth, David, the flat earth thing came around and it took over the conspiracy world because people were taking a little bit of this religion, a little bit of this religion, and saying your reality is created by what you believe in, and bastardized the teachings. And then some really smart people came together and said, we can make this a movement and fuck everybody's heads up. And that's ultimately what happened. Yes.
I have fun with flat earthers because it's like we live in a flat plane. It's like I live in a hologram, so deal with that. I'm like, well, no, because whatever you believe, you perceive. I've heard someone explain it that the flat Earth is an overlay around the spherical Earth because of the virus in the construct, or blah blah blah. Rabbit holes. Be careful with the flat Earth because you'll spiral down. Or just
Monty, you seem to know too much about this flat Earth. You're giving yourself away. Go easy.
No, I've been battling these pricks for 6 years.
You know what it's like?
Did you know that Mercury and Venus are behind the Earth? Aha! See, flat Earth, my friends. Like, well, citation needed. Why can we see the moon full when the sun's up? It's like, it's called fucking physics. It's like because the light bounces off the big rock in the sky, and just so many. That's the problem. What, Andrew, was it 2014? When did flat Earth pop in? Ever since then, very loud.
Late 2014, it began.
Yeah, very loud anger. And it's you're a spherehead, and it's made up by the Jews or the Catholics or the Pope or whoever it is, and people rebel, and it's like you're one of us, or you're either with us or you're against us type deal. That's the level of insanity. And like, we can't talk about flat Earth, because we keep repeating facts to you that are provable, and you continue to block it. It's like they haven't got a narrow mind. They've got a hair-sized mind because they won't allow anything to pop in.
Monty, the latest is the flat earthers are really concerned about the social distancing because they think that people will start falling off the edge. So
well, if the Earth was flat, all the cats would have pushed everyone off by now.
Well, what I just visualized is Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins kind of having a big convention with the flat earthers, and they all just standing there yelling.
That would be funny because he could convince him. Because that's essentially what happened. A bunch of really good talkers got on and started talking and blogging, and they built up a YouTube audience, and it started getting hits. And then people went into curiosity learning, and the Earth is flat, and that they don't know how dumb they sound.
What I find
maybe they
interesting
need
You guys actually take
To
part
that
in
very
these
quick-
kinds of conversations?
I expelled it from my show in 2014. I didn't let a single flat earther explain their point of view.
David, and what is fascinating as well is they say NASA is full of shit. I like it, never a straight answer because it's NASA. And then they use information from NASA to back up their theory. Because apparently the sun is blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
Look, honestly, what happens with me is something along the lines of this. I think, like, when you have a group that believes so seriously in one thing, them in rockets send their ass out. It's one-way trip. Okay, have your convention on the moon. Because I think a lot of these people actually just want to be noticed and want to be heard. Okay,
That is exactly it. That's exactly it. They want to be heard.
Somebody didn't hug them enough. Somebody didn't love them enough. And I'm just going to assume the really stupid point, right? Because I don't know, because I have seen at least one video since we started talking about this in the last show. And I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, you have issues. Okay, somebody didn't love you enough. Because honestly speaking, if I believe the earth was flat, I could be very comfortable believing that the earth was flat and go about my business. If somebody said the earth was, I just don't understand that. There are a number of things that I believe in. Other people may not believe in them, right? But I just keep it to myself. It's like esoteric people who I'm going to take the piss out of next.
Well, that's the thing about with the whole part of it's like, okay, apart from one question of why did they do this? To hide God, clearly. It's like, why is it so? Why does it matter if the earth, the earth is flat? Just as an example, the earth is flat. Has your life completely changed by knowing this? We still have the coronavirus. We still have Trump versus Biden. It doesn't really change anything. We're not moving humanity forward. It's like, but they're wasting all this money. Is like, yeah, that in the economic system that's fake anyway. It's we have other problems before we find out what the construct of the planet is. Well, I was thinking about just then as well. What I find interesting is part of the psyop is they take a physics fact and they find another simple logic version of flat earth to explain it, and they make people doubt, and that's the division. And I think the strength that we find in the flat earthers, it's like, I have to be right, I can't be right. And
it's no different than the Christian zealots, just different rhetoric.
Strangely enough, flat earth proves the Christian Bible. Or that type of stuff. And
it does. How is that? I'm interested.
I have no idea. Oh, because the firmament with the waters in the sky and everything else like that.
So I want to set David up here. I'm going to slow pitch you a ball for you to head out of the park. We didn't pick on the Mormons last week.
Oh fuck! Oh shit. Okay, I have respect for the Mormons on the point of view that they take their evangelical duty seriously, meaning that they go from house to house. I don't know if they do it in the US or whether they're afraid. The funny thing about it is that I don't see Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons in the ghetto doing that sort of stuff. Due to the fact that you will get raped for your faith. So it's kind of like a weird thing. The Mormons are a particular group to take the piss out of. Now, they have some very questionable beliefs. I don't have an issue with that, right? But when you look at religion, you must look at where the religion started from. And there are a lot of people who do not read where the religion started from. Okay? You have this guy who is being persecuted for having more than one wife. They believe in bigamy. He takes his people who are also being persecuted across the United States on the premise that if anybody got injured or fell sick on the trail on the way to the promised land, they were to be left behind. Let's start with that Christian charity principle. Let's start with that. Okay? You don't want me to get me started on religion, okay?
Yes, we do. That was the intention.
Right.
And
So now everything is fine. People get sick. They get left behind on the trail. They get to this hill and the wagons are going up the hill. And a wagon wheel jumps off of the wagon, rolls down the hill and breaks his friggin' leg. Okay. Second in command says to him, well, we gotta leave you behind. Because the rule is rules, we gotta leave you behind. He says, no, just wait. And, overnight you could go about your business and just leave me here. Guess what happens? The next morning he wakes up and says, hey guys, this is it. We're here. This is the promised land. It's right here. Where is the promised land? You know where they were. Right, Andrew?
Salt Lake.
They were in Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City is the land of milk and honey. The two tastes don't really go together. Okay?
No.
A lot of these religions have the most ridiculous beginning. Okay? Rastafarianism from the Caribbean. Remember them?
Yeah.
Started in 1973, 72, officially codified around this time. Taking the page out of Como cult warriors who didn't comb their hair, and so their hair matted and became dreadlocks, right? Okay. They saw and read in a book, Haile Selassie the First. Haile Selassie the First, Roman numeral 1. It looks like a giant. So now they're going to call it Haile Selassie I. And everything is Haile Selassie I. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? This is some of these religions started from the most ridiculous starts. And from something starts wrong, it can't end right.
Well, I've actually let the Mormons in once into my house. And if you look at the screen, Robert he needs a raise, Andrew, because that means greed. We're going to David's next. He's going to take it. My understanding of the Mormon was that is it Joseph Smith? That's the guy you're talking about that broke his leg. Yeah. Before they find the promised land, apparently he gets visited by an angel 3 times, and he is directed to go find some gold plates. He can only translate them himself and then forget how he can do it, and then the plates go back up to heaven. Now, does that sound like the Greys fucking with somebody? It's like alien, because it took 3 goes. Yeah. It's like, was the transmission not strong enough? And so to me, there's no credibility. It's like, okay, so God left some gold plates that no one can read, just buried in New Hampshire or something like that.
But I understand it, right?
I know what I'm doing. Yeah, trust me, I'm a doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
But why was that stage show? What was that all about? That recent stage show?
Oh, that's actually South Park. The South Park.
No. Was it?
Yeah. That's the Book of Mormon is actually doing that, and the Mormon Church has actually embraced it, because every time the show's in a city, they find out that people are interested in their religion, and so they have like billboards and bus posters around the theater saying if you're interested, they're recruiting at a parody show.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Look, honestly, I do like the professional look. I do. You got your ties, whatever else. You think that inspires confidence from me? Seriously? Like you came to my house in a tie and you're really well dressed and stuff like that. That's supposed to inspire confidence. Here's the thing about Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons that I have a problem with. They come to your house not to speak or discuss. They come to your house to tell you what the good news is. So I've had a couple of them in my house, and it's been very uncomfortable. I had a neighbor who was particularly evil, and every time the Mormons would come to his house, he would answer his house stark raving naked. And they use a lot of techniques And one of the techniques that they use is they're always sending these old people and little children out there. So normally speaking, if it was an adult, you're in my house, I'm just going to just close that door. Right?
Mhm.
But in your heart of hearts, you can't slam the door on some old lady or some little kid because you're thinking that could be my mother, right?
Yeah.
Or that could be my or that could be my kid or something. You're not going to want to close the door and be mean to these people. And they realize this, and that's how they keep your door open. It's some real shit. And I know this because I joined the Jehovah's Witnesses for 3 months to figure out. I just wanted to know how the other half lives.
So you're
Don't
a
look at me
tourist.
like that.
Yeah,
Don't
you're a
look at me
tourist.
like that. I did. I just wanted to see what makes these people, what drives them. And it was enlightening, actually. It was enlightening. They honestly have some dread beliefs.
I had the same thing with the Mormons.
About
It's
the
like
144,000 that will be saved.
with the Mormons, I had the same thing of I'll let them in, find out what this is all, and they usually say it's your choice, it's your choice. But there's that they prey on not guilt. Well, there's probably an element of guilt, but there's that doubt. And so you can see people that have joined the church where it's about numbers instead of actual spirituality / religion. And my higher self said no, and they said, "Oh, fair enough," and then they walked away. And I do actually still have the Latter-day Saints Bible, which for those who aren't familiar with the Mormon Church, it's the New Testament, and then Christ dies. And then 3 days later, he pops up in South America. And that's all about that. It's like, okay, this is like it's a bad sequel, if I can say it that way. It's fascinating. It's like, oh no, 3 days later, he popped up in South America. And so who knows what, is it Quetzalcoatl or whatever it is, if they've reshaped it. Because
have you guys seen Messiah?
Yes.
the TV
Outstanding show, yes.
Yes.
That was hilarious.
I love how it's made too, where they don't. I think the makers of it's made it on purpose, where the audience has to make their own choice. They put forward in simple ways, left or right, where it's like he is from God, or there's a lot of synchronicity going on. Is it this one? Is it this one? And I think I'm making season 2 because it sort of ended on a cliffhanger.
Correct. I'm waiting for it.
I want to say this. I could never be Jehovah's Witness because I didn't see the accident.
Hey,
I didn't see the accident.
that came out of left field. Yeah, I love on a couple of my shows I've used this joke where it's we were going to have a psychic on today, but they're on a car accident. Yeah, apparently the guy came out of nowhere because the psychic should know this. So,
So in Barbados, we had a guy posing as a psychic. Okay. And like I'm going to take a piss out of esoteric people. And Andrew, love you, brother, but we're going to take the piss out of psychics. Every frigging body I'm going to take the piss out of. We had a psychic in Barbados. Okay. He charged people a lot of money for his services. Went to the supermarket and got run to fuck over by a car. Psychic, did you not see that coming? Literally, did you not see that coming? We had a church, right? We had a church where faith healers are coming. The faith healer that was going around healing people was wearing bifocals. Healer, heal thyself. Right, these are the kind of ironies that no, I don't say that's right. No, you have people who I want to take the piss out of esoteric people, honestly, and I'll tell you why. Because esoteric years ago, because Andrew, you've been in this for a long time, I've been in this for a long time. We've been in this forever, but something has changed in the last 20 years. Something has changed. We have esoteric people who have made a religion out of esoteric practice.
That's right.
Right?
Cult of coaching.
The cult of coaching. You have a coaching community, You got this esoteric community, and they're acting like religious people. And I'm like, seriously, guys, we were supposed to be the chilled ones. We were supposed to be the chilled ones. The meditators were supposed to be the chilled ones. But now we have a new breed of esoteric people who their logic is, I am more enlightened than you are. You have people who've been in this for 2 years who've suddenly become enlightened. Huh?
Mhm.
You remember the Lululemons, the Lululemons that I told you about?
Mm-hmm.
I wear Lululemon. I am now enlightened. Okay.
Reminds me of teenagers. I know everything.
Right.
It's competitive enlightenment, David.
We used to be chilled back in the day. We used to have ashrams. Everybody came and just chilled out. But now we have a bunch of esoteric people really appropriating the culture of a whole bunch of people. And I'm like, what is going on with these people?
It became a business. There's marketing and everything else like that. It's supposed to be a connection to the Prime Creator and, Ascension and all these buzzwords. But now there's a market for that, and we'll have conventions and sell T-shirts and DVDs.
Yeah, I'm going to take a strip out of the coaching community as well. You guys, please stop trying to be psychologists. Please, 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 please stop it. Really, right? You guys are like, we have a situation where people follow certain paths, and they follow them like Christians. They give them money, they do whatever else for shit, really. And you know what I'm talking about, Andrew. We've had a lot of this going on, right? Yep. They join different coaching paths and so on. Listen, going to a coaching seminar for a couple of weeks does not make you a coach. It doesn't.
But that's what the cult of coaching tells you. You are a coach as soon as you finish my seminar.
Look, I studied psychotherapy. The piece of paper does not a psychotherapist or counselor make. You got to read, you have to see the experience of people, right? I remember coming out of school, and my first couple of cases were nothing that I could have had any kind of training to prepare me for. I literally had a man coming to my office, a Christian, of course, because, this has been building for years, who said to me that an angel came to him in his dream and told him to divorce his wife. What are you going to say to that? What exactly are you going to say to that? What question do you have to say to that? So, I'm thinking the agent probably had a really nice rack, right? That angel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
What's the angel's name? Adulteress?
You have these kinds of things happening. So I just think that if you guys are listening and you guys are esoterically inclined, please every day check yourselves. Seriously.
Before you wreck yourself, yo.
But it's a bit like the two words abundance and manifestation have permeated every type of social group. And what I find amusing is that there's actually a college for entrepreneurship. It's kind of these oxymorons that go, you go to someone to figure out how to be abundant. And they truly believe that these coaches will somehow transform them. And maybe Tony Robbins got a lot to answer for. But there seems to be one too many of these groups now that truly believe that abundance and manifestations is kind of this bizarre divine right. And then they go off and learn how to be an entrepreneur to teach the next person how to manifest and be abundant. And then they're posting that they can't pay their rent, and they're asking for their fellow abundance and manifestors to manifest something for them to be able to pay their rent. It just doesn't make sense.
It's like this. It comes down to integrity. If you remember the book / movie, The Secret, everyone that's part of that's basically in jail at the moment, from my understanding. Because here's the secret that everyone, and it's basically manifesting in abundance, and you do it with integrity. And of course, there'll be soul contracts and how you actually create your reality. But that came out, and everyone's put in that survival mode of we need money, and so it generated a lot. And because there's no integrity behind it, they all failed. And I think because what people see is like, I can go into business. I can, I've got a product of saving people. They've seen other people do it, and they go, I can do that, or I'm better than that with them. And it's the whole message or the teachings get pissed in, it's pissing in the punch bowl, where it's just generating money and so forth. It's like, I won't mention names, but these moments in the now, certain people that are used to a certain level of generating money, they've had to adapt because they can't go on tour at the moment. And yeah, it's interesting. It's like, if you remember the Simpson episode, I watched a lot of Simpsons. You can explain reality probably through a Simpson episode. It's when they sell Malibu Stacy, which is their Barbie doll, but it came with a new hat, and everyone lost their mind. But this one has a hat. Look.
So a lot of them belong to the what I call the Pinecone Bust Sniffer clan. So they join a group, they make that group, they create a myth around it, they join the cult of coaching, and then they become their own cult of personality that lives in their own bubble and doesn't realize there's a real world out there. Unfortunately, a lot of people can identify with that. A lot of people. And you go to a coach, David, you and I know a lot of coaches in the industry, and some of the things that they make you pay for, you know, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, and they're giving you garbage education, garbage certificates, and they have all of this esoteric stuff topped on it, but no practical application.
Yes, I actually have a lot of friends in the coaching community, and I'm part of a lot of coaching networks. Okay, what I have seen as of the last few years is this new cult of personality where somebody takes the teachings of things that have been taught forever, they repackage them, put it into a coaching certification where if you come, you will become enlightened, right?
Yeah, and then they trademark it.
And then they trademark it like it's theirs. It's not yours. That's number one. Let's start with that. Okay. Then they have people and they charge people exorbitant rates because you have to have balls this big to charge on something that you know you don't actually own. They know they don't. They know they don't own it. Come on, please. There's no such thing. There's nothing new underneath the sun, right? And what I don't understand is that there's a laziness about it, right, Andrew?
That's right.
Because if I'm going to teach somebody something that has been taught before, I am I'm going to try to make that person useful to other people. But I've met a lot of coaches who are not worth a lot.
They're worth junk. They weren't nothing, but they want to charge you thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars for junk.
And look, I really, there's part of me, I mean, it's comedic to see certain things, all right? But honestly speaking, I see a lot of duping of the public and so on. What's worse is that people go to their coaching certifications or whatever it is that they go to, and they think that they're really well equipped until they run up into something like somebody telling you, I'm going to kill myself.
Right, which we talked about the last show. So you actually run into somebody that was this habit of killing, and then they don't know what to do. Literally don't know what to do. So I want to relate a story. I know that this is a comedy story, but this has a funny part to it. So I've gone to many marketing conventions, coaching conventions, and I go to them because there's a way to learn about the new technology. And I might have told you this before, David, and I went to an event, Brendan Burchard's Experts Academy. I learned a lot about business in that class. And there were people that have gone to 20, 30 coaching academies, this and that, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they don't even have a website.
Yes, that's a real story. This is a real story. And we saw that just this week, Andrew. Or was it last week? We saw that just this week.
Yeah.
Like, hello. Seriously?
Yeah. They don't even have a website.
It's funny to actually look at this stuff, right? Because they don't equip them with the right tools. And what's funny about it is that it doesn't matter if they're not equipped. They're arrogant with it, yeah?
Totally. So we would break into these groups, and you do your pitch, you do your thing, you do your branding and your marketing, and all these people are supposed to comment on it. And I did my thing, and they're like, because I had a website, I had branding for 2 companies, marketing for 2 companies, evergreen products, 1,700 radio shows, an email list, all that. And all these people are like, I don't have anything. And you want to be a coach?
They have a certificate, Andrew. Don't forget.
No,
that.
they've never even coached a single person.
But they have a certificate that says that they can.
They've got dozens of certificates. Dozens of certificates. And then it evolves into, you finally meet somebody else that's done the work. And you've got like a circle of people, and the 2 people that have done their work, we're both looking at each other. Who the hell are these fucking idiots out there? And then the competition with the idiots begins, where they try to beat their chest. My website's going to be this, it's going to be that, it's going to be this, it's going to be that.
The website that hasn't actually been built.
Right, the website hasn't been built. Yeah, and then they start this competition process, and then they take that home, and that's competitive enlightenment. And that's what takes the cult of coaching to its own fucked up level. This
is going to be the new cult, right? This coaching community that is developing.
Yeah. And I coined a phrase here on this show, cult of coaching. Last week it was cult. I kept telling it's the cult of personality. It's the cult of coaching now.
It's hilarious. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the chat, Robert put in Robert Stevens, 1-800-SAVIOR. Call now.
Yep. But
we'll coach you on saving.
Yeah. Would you like to be Jesus too? Go ahead, Santa.
Sorry, what you're saying is so real, and the snake oil is on steroids. So the difficulty is that the system itself is built on snake oil to some degree. So it's a kind of, if you can't beat them, that some people are saying, but they convince themselves that they're doing it with integrity or with, some sort of spiritual motive. But underlying their intention is to join the game of snake oil competition just to do it better. It's a bit like when a politician joins politics because they're going to fix the world. And then, 4 years later, they're as corrupt as the next bloke on the bench. Mm-hmm. So it's very difficult to have the pre-endowed discernment to have the integrity before building the website to truly ask yourself, am I joining this game to beat it, or am I joining the game because I am a creative being that knows how to create my source of information with the internal knowing of the intention behind it? Far too often I bump into these people and they're just snake oil competitors, including all the groups.
Honestly, Santa, what has been happening, I can tell you because I've been doing a tour of the coaching communities and picking up their certifications and stuff myself. What has been happening is that people are putting together any amount of shit. They just put it together, they strap it together, they've created a system. They don't go about the certification process, and some of it gets really, really, really ridiculous. Okay, and I mean like really ridiculous. I actually have, do I have it here? Let's see if I can find it. Oh, I am going to read you something. Let's see.
I like what Danny Sosa. You too can be an end time messiah for a low monthly rate.
So I'm going to read you something. One of the tools of this coaching system is this little saying: right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9 shorts, boys and beyond. Now, I could not make that shit up. Okay? I'm not going to call out the coaching community. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9 shorts, boys and beyond. You're supposed to recite that and memorize it.
Okay, that sentence starts out well and then just gets really weird.
Yeah, and really wrong, right?
Yeah, like boys in shorts, POC, POD, like piece of crap, person of color, which is that's we can get back to how all these SJWs and where diversity, it's basically they're racist and sexist to white men. And now I know I'm a white man, so I'm aware of it, but it's really annoying where it's like we need more diversity. It's like, oh, you mean like a white guy? No, that's racist. We can't have it's the person of color just mean, what is the numbers of the Caucasian race on the planet? It's minute. We're turning into a minority. Like 1 in 7 people's Indian, 1 in 7 people's Chinese, but it's the white man that is evil.
This is true.
Yeah, but it's continuation of the inversion. If you look at the recent stuff as well, with the Lady Gaga kind of promoted material, it's very difficult to see where the inversion lies. It's a little bit like the 2012 Olympic opening ceremony, NHS depiction, and looking at the current events. And you can, there's these patterns, these weird patterns of inversion that create this cognitive dissonance that is so inverted that people's minds literally flip and they have difficulty sorting left from right anymore. And
well said.
Also, the Prime creator had crack that day when he created that concept. So
So we should create our own coaching community. Call it Cult of Coaching, and it's 99-cent teaching. So we're going to use all the MLM marketing things. So for every new teaching you want from our coaching, it's 99 cents, and it's 10,000 teachings.
Ooh, nice. I'll be the head guy of Banana Level.
Yeah, and you get the chairman of Visa to sit on the board to make sure that those micropayments drip through fairly.
Yes,
and someone and
I'll make the little mantras that they're supposed to remember.
Yes, exactly. 99 cents for each one, and we can make it an app. Everything.
And Andrew, I'll change my last name to Biden, just for shits and giggles. Go ahead, Sandra.
You would have forgotten that 2 hours later anyway, so it doesn't matter.
What?
Biden.
2 seconds, sorry.
Yeah. Who? What?
So, I can see the T-shirts now. The Cult of Coaching, 99 cents.
COC.
Cock.
Hello. Would you like to join Cock? Yeah, come and join Cock. Come on. You'll love it. You'll love a bit of cock, eh?
But seriously, the amount of subscription services are overwhelming, even for the discerning person these days. So it's very, very difficult to choose where to put your, whether you call them earnings, even though that's a word for where you put the ashes of the dead, that's irrelevant. But the fact that there is so much available sometimes may be the cosmic joke to say you've already got it. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think they're still trying to get the cosmic joke.
Yeah.
This is not the truth.
I just had.
They're still trying to get that cosmic joke.
How's this for good marketing? Enlightenment in 30 days, over 7 months. Only 7 months. 7 monthly payments. There you go.
Do you know how silly that is? Enlightenment in 30 days or your money back.
Oh, we're not giving it back. Yeah, it's a donation.
Because if in 30 days you don't realize that money is useless, then it's our fault. We did something wrong to you. No, people are selling a lot of crap, and it is reminding me of this is going to be the new religion. I see where esoterics is headed. It's been hijacked by the social justice people, the con artist people, the coaching communities. It's actually quite sad.
David, it reminds me, being, I could call myself an elder, being in my 60s, I remember living in the 60s. And back then, it seems like it's just a repeat in a different version of then, now. But essentially, the amusing part back then was we didn't have internet. So my obsession was to get the answer by visiting every alternate bookstore and just keep reading those books, you know, and there was always another Alan Watts, or there was another Krishnamurti, and there was always something that got your attention, but it was always in a book. And I'd always feel I hadn't read enough book, and there's one more. But as I was reading a book one day, it just came to me, but what about all those people in the jungle that really are kind of like shamans and they can't even read? Where the hell did they get their information from? And at that point, I stopped reading books. And actually, that's a different story. Started a hippie commune. But the point being,
no, we won't hear that story. You can't just gloss over that. you can't just gloss. Are you kidding? We want to hear that story.
We were obsessed with fixing the world back then. In Australia, you probably know Monty, Nimbin.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was my first foray into setting up communes, and joined with a band of other locally loose-minded people to set up what was called the Bodhi Farm. And we thought we had all the answers. We built our temple, we meditated, we felt we were free, and we truly believed we were changing the world. Yet we had the same thing. We built a little library area, communal eating area, and everyone's obsessed with sitting on a beanbag and reading books. Yet we were going to be self-sufficient.
Yeah. Sorry? Was that, had cannabis got to Nimbin by then, like at the level it is today?
Well, it was not only at that level. We had some members on our little group, for example, one guy who would only eat naked and refused to use cutlery. So I'm not sure what he smoked before he came to eat. But
Andrew, does that remind you of anybody?
A lot.
So not using cutlery, that would be a safety measure because he's naked?
Yeah, he didn't want to get COVID. He was way ahead of his time.
Yeah, or have bits cut off.
Exactly. But essentially the point being, we deluded ourselves into believing, be the lie, that we would somehow in this mosquito-infested place save the world. And it all, again, like reading the book, dropped one day when the veggies weren't growing too well. We were having problems with our veggie patch. And in true consensus mode, we would have a meeting for everything. We needed to, have consensus. So we sit down to have the meeting, and you can imagine naked man who, smokes various stuff amongst like-minded people, the sort of suggestions that were being made. And I consider myself a fairly grounded, rational person, and I tried very hard to participate. And it all was going well until one girl came up with a brilliant suggestion. She said, as we walked past the veggie patch, which was on the way to the communal eating area, we should project love, just project love from our hearts to the veggies as we walk past.
You mean the veggies that you're going to murder and eat? Sorry.
Yeah, but that was the solution. At that point, it all collapsed. It's like the quanta. And I had a brain fart and just stood up and yelled, does anybody remember the last time the veggies were watered?
Oh. No.
No. So that level of disconnect was what I needed to reconnect me to sanity. And I feel like it's like that on steroids at the moment. What is going to be the anchor point that connects us to sanity? In other words, how far do we have to be pushed to the brink of insanity before we just wake up and go, I'm done.
Well, you mean collectively? Because like it just 2020. Remember at the end of 2019, where it's like, wow, we survived that year. Oh, 2020 is my year. We're all going to make it, everybody. We're going to have a great year. And this is, you know, being Australian, Sandra would know, we were on fire at the time. And was like, oh, I'm glad that's over. And then, of course, you know, a bat working in a lab goes to a wet market and eats in a 5G tower or something. And here we are.
No, Monty, you forgot the flood. We had the flood in between the fire. We had fire followed by flood.
Yeah, fire, then flood. Then we have the politicians as locusts and blah, blah, blah. And it got pretty biblical there for a while. It's like, has someone been reading the Bible again? I don't know which one. And then you've got the virus going around the entire globe, and the insanity that's come forward. I see how it is a karmic retribution pushing humanity forward, because everyone's just batshit crazy at the moment, where it's, how can you have three timelines at once where it's the earth is cleansing itself? No. It's the New World Order. No. It's mass arrests and 17 other different things. It's like, I feel like an alcoholic in a going to AA. It's like one day at a time, just one day at a time. We'll get through it.
They're going to have CTA, CTA, Conspiracy Theorists Anonymous.
Hello, I'm a theorist. Hello, Monty.
Monty, how do you deal with this day in, day out?
I'm an alcoholic. No, I'm Australian. It helps with the humor, like the comedy. I've learned that you have to take breaks from it. Like any budding conspiracy theorists out there, there's a reason that you rest. It's a reason that God rested on the seventh day. You can't do it all the time, because if you're in that same vibration, it just wears you down.
That seventh day is a conspiracy theory itself. God didn't rest. Don't you know?
No, and also
he would tell the secret societies and told them to work on the seventh day.
See now, and also as Andrew pointed out, there's going to be disappointment. Here's a theory. No, oh fuck, another one. I just want to have fun. Yeah. So it's comedy, not caring. There's an element of distance, or going to the 0 point. Just it's being aware but not engaging. You know, it's one of those weird reverse dichotomies, if I'm using the right language.
I'll tell you what is.
I love you, but I'm walking away. Yeah.
I'll tell you what has been happening to me. What's been happening to me is that I find myself increasingly becoming more and more silent, because I think I should probably shed some light in some reason. No. Let's not shed any light or any reason. Like I find myself increasingly becoming more and more silent. Right, because I'm in a position where I habitually meet either the religious types, right, or I meet the Whitelighters or the esoteric people, and I meet them every day, and I see them, and I'm like, no, you can't. Look, I understand that you think you're enlightened, and you think you've reached the end path, and you think you're going to heaven. But I guarantee you, I'll be on that cloud with my harp floating past you on that last day. Okay? So I habitually tell them that, and they think it's sacrilege. Some of the stuff that I do, I've been accused of being a blasphemer, sacrilegious, and I certainly am.
Uncircumcised. Don't forget you were accused of being an uncircumcised Philistine.
Yes, I was accused of being an uncircumcised Philistine by a woman.
Yes.
All right, so I'm like, how do you know I'm uncircumcised?
No, that was my question. It's like, when did
how do you know? When does the Philistine come in? Like, how do you know I'm uncircumcised? Like, I am quite sure I don't see you in the bathroom regularly. You know, like, what the hell?
Are these pants too tight? What? How do you know this?
I remember having to explain to David that was an insult when the text came through. He's like, somebody just called me an uncircumcised Philistine. What does that mean?
What the hell is that supposed to tell me? How is that an insult? But I'm supposed to have uncircumcised shame? And how do you know I'm uncircumcised? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, how dare you be a whole man? Not just a bit. Yeah, I like it. God loves you. He made you perfect. You're also a sinner, and we're going to hack off the end bit of your willy for
Okay,
reasons.
so I'm gonna ask that question. What's the circumcision thing about?
Originally, that would be because Moses took the Israelites for, I think he just got drunk and lost the map, but he went into the desert for 40 years.
Mhm.
And let me just say, as a male, you don't want sand in there. And so that's why they remove it. So it's basically, it's hygiene.
There wasn't one woman there in 40 years that said ask for directions.
Oh no! Well, back then it's 5,000 years ago. Whatever. It's like, women. It took them 4,900 years to get the vote. So I'm sure they did ask for directions, and then they got killed for being a heathen. But that's the premise of where you remove the foreskin, is so the sand doesn't even get in there. Why they're doing it now is just brutal torture, which causes trauma for the rest of the life.
Because I thought it was a hygiene issue. But then I'm like,
Not now.
Water has been invented. I mean, like, so what water? I like
Plumbing.
Like,
we have plumbing, indoor plumbing.
like you're against female genital mutilation, FGM, but you're chopping off the hoods of penises. Like, why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're a perfect creation of God, but also a sinner, and we're built wrong.
I'm going to say something politically correct. Can you imagine if our Asian brothers practice circumcision?
They wouldn't have cold showers.
I'm sorry, that just came to me. I'm sorry. Right, just thinking that would be bad. That would be bad. All right.
But David, you say you're spending more time quiet, and I'm sure a lot of people are. But at the same time, there's this message that's pounding in everybody's head that says there's a lot of heavy lifting that needs to be done. I need to do some heavy lifting. And so it comes down to this kind of definition of the inner work versus what people define as the heavy lifting that supposedly needs to be done without being a zealot about it. But unfortunately, the heavy lifting narrative has become so toxic that people are spending more time criticizing the lifters than lifting anything. They're just looking at the big weight lifters and going, that's too heavy for him, he shouldn't be lifting it. But they're just not even holding a grain of sand in their hand and doing anything. So it's a really tricky kind of process of the within versus without, the externalizing and criticizing and targeting, being targeted versus actually saying something that means something and it is not targeted.
You also have the problem of wokedom, where in the mainstream, woke means that you're awakened and you know about all this social stuff, and we're from the true awakening or true remembering of who we are, and we're still laughed at in the mainstream. But the general public, I've noticed a lot of people, like, I kind of hate being a trendsetter occasionally, because like, I'm going to A, B, and C, which I said 10 years ago. And now 90% of my friends are saying A, B, C. I'm like, I told you that. Like, you finally caught up and you forget. I don't know if it's my spiritual ego or just my ego. It's just like, real. I'm always I seem to be like in the vanguard or forefront. And then I turn around and people will say, oh, no, you're silly, or ignore me. And then they finally catch up. Like, a bad example is when Snowden came out and said the US government is recording everyone's data. In the conspiracy world, alternative world, we knew that for 2-3 years earlier already. And it's like, really? You know that meme of the guy is looking at a girl while holding his hand of his girlfriend? I feel like that occasionally. I feel like the girlfriend going, really?
Well, actually,
I think
we've known that Big Brother's been watching us since the Clipper chip era in the late 80s.
Yeah. But, because Snowden was on 60 Minutes. It's all true. I told you that. Shut up. Like, oh, come on. Like, Yeah.
But what you're describing, Monty, I think is an expression of people's personalities, and it goes across realms. So if you were working in a corporate office, you'd be having the same issue as whether you're doing your radio show or whatever.
Mhm.
And my experience with that is always having that, even when I was in the corporate world, and had this terrible habit of saying, I told you so. And
Yes,
I tried
yeah.
very, very hard not to do that when
Yeah.
it was obvious, particularly in a corporate setting. It's like, please, can we not spend this money doing this, or whatever it was?
Yeah.
And then I would not get glee, but I'd kind of just have to say, I told you so. And interestingly, my boss, when I left that, gave me a coffee mug with "I told you so" on it.
Well, yeah, for me, it's a form of a life lesson. That whole "I told you so" is.
I have to show you. I have to show you a coffee mug that was given to me by a Christian community for arguing with them. I'm going to go get this mug. I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Teaser there. Yeah, it's to me, it's like the lesson of don't. Well, it's compassion, or that whole, I told you so. So you don't have, you're not a dick about it. Like, told you so. But on the flip side of that is having no recognition at all. It's like, I hate you people sometimes. It's you don't have that arrogance of like, haha, I was right. I'm at the other end of the scale of like, I told you. Like, just once say, yes, you did say that. All right, let's move on. Because it's not, we're gathering an army, but you want people to go together and push forward in a positive light.
Exactly.
See, we should also be going, I told you so. Like in The Simpsons.
Well, yeah, but once, not for 4 months, Andrew. That's what I'm like. It's like, yeah, remember that time? Yeah, yes, it was 20 years ago. Fuck off. But it's the flip side of like being ridiculed, and it's like that Gandhi thing. First they ridicule you, laugh and hate, and then finally acceptance. With the acceptance, I'm not getting recognition, and I just a little bit. I don't need to be. Well, I could go on a T-shirt, but I don't need to be put on a pedestal. It's like, look, the great comedian. But no thing of like, yeah, you told me that once.
But if you look at
personal thing,
if you look at it now, at the rate at which predictive modeling is going beyond almost the rate at which we can actually, using our own sensibilities, figure out what's going on, it gets even more amusing because the person that's coming going, I just figured this out. How do you explain that the rate at which things are moving, the sequential way of thinking, means you're going to lag in the process of waking up because it just can't catch up. So is there...
I was just going to say, I'll give an example in a entertainment way. For starters, I have no idea why a search engine is creating a robot, but Google are working on automaton robots. I don't know why. Maybe they're into bots, I think. But, people's like thinking, oh, this is a good idea. We'll have military robots and we'll have wars. I'm from the 80s. I've seen a shitload of films. They don't end well. Like, can we be aware of that? Like, you're creating AI. There's a whole science fiction subgenre of, everything going bad. No, we'll just do this. It's strange how I'll end here. It's strange that people think that history started in 2012.
Yeah, but is what you said just life imitating art, art imitating life, and that the predictive modeling seeds it through the Hollywood magic in order to get people to actually allow the manifestation of the thought process that they could not originally create within themselves to manifest through a reinforced model of Hollywood programming. There's a lot of that going on as well. And you talk to a lot of people and they're blurring, a bit like the mixed reality concept that Microsoft tried to push onto us recently. Where does what is creating the reality and where does it blur? And where does the predictiveness come from? how much of what you said in those Hollywood movies was a seeding process?
Yeah, and you've got what was it? Plausible deniability, which if you've ever seen the Stargate TV show, Stargate SG-1, where on their 100th episode, 1, 2, 3, and 4, it's about it's about a show where they have a Stargate in it. In a show about a Stargate, like they're actually going, they've replicated type. So we watch the crew that Stargate goes off worlds and does missions, and then someone from the project goes to Hollywood, tells an executive, and they make a TV show about a clandestine military operation of going through a Stargate off planet. And so if you say, "Oh, there's Stargates," yeah, just like the TV show, and it
Brilliant.
switches off. Yeah, it was brilliant. I don't know if they're taking the piss or they just thought it was a good idea. I'm sure it's leaning towards the piss.
Yep.
But it's if you see it that way, it's very funny because it's like the Emperor's got no clothes type thing. It's like you can see everything. It's so out in front. It's funny. David, did you find your mug?
Yes, right here. It is. You see, I don't know if you guys can see it. This is the C here. That's the U. And this is the N, and this is the T. Now, this was given to me by a Christian, just so that we're clear. Could not make that up. I had to show you guys this.
Why?
Because Monty, I studied Santo, I studied theology, and that was the worst thing that could have happened to Christians in my locality, because then I have to actually point out some rather horrible facts to them.
So we've reached that horrible facts of Christianity moment, because we're reaching the 10 after 8 hours. So David, we promised that we would let you loose on religion, touch that inner part of you that is just
Pick one. Let's start with whatever you want. You want to start in alphabetical order?
No, let's just pick a Bible verse and go.
Ezekiel 9 verses 10 to 14. Go ye throughout the town. There's a guy with an income. Let me give you some context. And these people have really pissed God off, right? Because they're not worshiping him because I made you. Why are you not worshiping me? I must kill all of you. So he says, this guy with the income, could you just go and put a mark on everybody's door who's faithful? All right. Is it done? We're good. All right. You guys, could you get your destroying weapons? That would be swords and stuff. Kill every other person. Run up on every other mofo who's in there and kill them. Spare ye not old woman or man to young child. Kill everybody and done. Sound familiar? Just like the guy in Nova Scotia. Okay, we're wiping everybody out that doesn't have the mark. Please explain to me. Please, Christians, explain to me how. How is this good? How is this good for good morale? In the next few books, he turns around and he says, "Oh, you know what? I'll send my son to die for these people because they are my people after all." That is schizophrenia. Sorry,
David,
it's schizophrenia.
David, it's good for the brand of monotheism.
It's schizophrenia. Like in the Old Testament, you're wiping out everybody. And not only is he wiping out everybody manually, he's sending his henchmen to wipe out people too. The other people who built a town, they're fine, but they're not worshiping God. So that the walls of Jericho have to come down. They gotta come down. So he says these guys to march around Jericho for 7 days because vibration is a thing. It's not a miracle. It's called vibration. Hooves hitting the ground will stabilize your fucking wall, right? Just imagine you're in your house and you're like, you know what? I'm just not gonna worship God, and a bunch of guys pull up to your house with their horses and start trampling your foundation. Okay, so I just want to somebody in the audience, anybody, please explain to me how this is a good thing. How is this a benevolent God? Explain it to me.
Because he loves you.
What? Seriously? Okay. Because he loves you. So in the New Testament, you're going to send your son to die for these people. All right, theoretically, you're going to send your son to die. So you're basically going to hijack Joseph. You are the baby daddy. Mary, well, you are going to become divinely pregnant with my son. Nobody's touching you, so there's no need for any kind of bad feelings.
It's not
It's
a
not
Me
like
Too
it's-
moment.
Yeah, it's not a Me Too moment. You can't be you can't put a nobody's touching you. You're just going to be pregnant, and it'll be okay. So okay, she gives birth to Jesus, and then he's born. We never hear about the child support payments that Joseph made. We never hear about that. We never hear about the child support payments or whether he was taken to court. 30 years later, Jesus is a grown-ass man. We don't know what the shit he did during his teenage years. We don't know what he got up to, right? Did he smoke weed? Right? What did he do?
Yeah, the Bible cuts out, I think, from the age of 12 to 30.
Yes.
Like, you know,
Right?
adolescence.
Because we don't want to know what shit he did during those times, right?
Oh,
Well,
Jesus does it.
He went to
Jesus
he went to an ashram in India and had a vegetable patch.
Yeah, spoke
No,
to
no,
Buddha.
no,
Yeah. And there's this weird guy that's naked
So-
that eats.
Yeah, there's this weird guy that is naked and locks and eats. And what's actually funny about that is at no point in the Bible does Jesus get a girlfriend, right? But he's living in a Jewish community,
Yeah.
God's chosen people, but he doesn't have a girlfriend. Okay.
He
So-
didn't have enough money.
So what we are led to believe was this divinely inspired being whose mother got impregnated. We're not calling it rape because that would be politically incorrect.
Mhm.
His mother got impregnated, had him, he was born 12 years, and then we see him 30 years later, and we're to assume that this man never had any sex in his life, right? Sorry, I'm going to say it like that. I'm going to go these kinds of places. So he never had any sex in his life, which means he never had a girlfriend, right? Then he meets up with a band of 12 men, not one,
Ooh, hello.
not two.
Ooh. I
12
have 12,
men.
darling. I have 12. Ooh. One for each month. That's how I
He
roll.
meets up with a band of 12 men. 12 men. And there's a lawyer among them. I mean, there's a lawyer among them. And there's a guy who's a fisherman. And they're all being circumcised. Yes, Joyce, they've all been circumcised.
Well,
And we go traveling together around the place.
and they
You
have
know, just
English
like
names.
just like Brokeback Mountains, into the hills and into the valleys and into the plains, preaching the good word. And let me ask you a question. One of these men gets jealous or whatever the case may be and betrays him, and he gets crucified. Is there anything about the story that disturbs anybody in this audience? Anything? Like, is there anything in the story that disturbs you? Because I have just related your entire Bible. No sex ever. That's what disturbs you.
What I find interesting is they had someone called Simon, Paul, Peter. Good British names 2,000 years ago in Palestine, Israel.
Actually, Saul, Paul was actually Saul before, but then he wrote the Corinthians and he became Paul. I'm not quite sure why he did a name change.
He was
but,
he was in a boy band. That's why.
so you have 12 men going around the place. None of these men are having sex. Nobody's, running up on any woman or whatever else. And they're spending lots of time in close proximity, feeding fish to the disenfranchised.
David, he was
Is
kind
that-
of he was kind of favorable to the whores.
He hung out
Mary-
with them a lot.
He hung
So-
out with them.
Which reminds me, this prostitute is about to be stoned. It says, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." Then she washes his feet, but nothing happened underneath his cloak. Nothing. Tell me, guys. Honestly,
if
I
it's
know
that-
I'm a heathen. I know I'm gonna go to hell. I just want you guys to tell me, does anything about this ring slightly incorrect? Because
Yes.
I'm not missing out anything here.
Listen, if his dad is running around getting immaculate pregnancies, how many times did Jesus do it?
This is what I mean. And on top of which, you got a whole bunch of and then God gets upset. I'm going to send my son to die for y'all so that y'all could be saved. But if y'all are not saved, I have revelation for your ass. So here's what's going to happen. You're not saved. The kind of shit I will rain down on you. Right?
It's going to be like my first book.
It's biblical, really. The kind of shit I'm going to rain down on you is going to be biblical. I don't understand that.
Someone actually went through the Old Testament and did the amount of people that died. God was 2,463,000. Satan was 8. Scoreboard. It's like, yeah, God loves you, so I'm going to kill you all because you don't. I think the God of the Bible is a 4D entity with massive ego problems. Like, they don't love me, so I'm going to kill them all.
I don't get that. People just follow blindly this stuff. So it's like, you have in the Old Testament, poor freaking Lot's wife, she got turned into a pillar of salt, but that's okay because the bitch should have known not to look behind her. Okay.
Well, yeah.
so she should have known that. And then there is this poor Lazarus who dies.
Job. He's Lazarus. Yeah.
Lazarus, right?
Yeah.
He gets ended, and instead of letting this man just
enter the gates of heaven, no, come back.
Rise, Lazarus, rise. We're not finished with you yet. Right? So it's really quite messed up. And then there's this demon that keeps plaguing Legion. And he puts it into the pigs and runs the pigs off the side of the mountain. Like, seriously? You remember these Bible stories? Every one of these Bible stories has some shit in it that just isn't ring correctly. Okay? Seriously? Mm-hmm. These guys are having butt sex, so let's just kill everybody there. But I'm not going to stay on Christianity. I'm going to go to every one of these religions because, I'm like that. Okay? Well, we already described the whole Hinduism thing, right? There are a number of problems with this. So the Hinduism is made up of the Mahabharata, and then you have the Gita. The Gita tells about the war between the cousins, but the books before are very freaking dread. So dig this. This story started off when this woman, who is a river goddess, gets involved with this king, and what happens is actually kind of funny. She says, I'm going to have children, and whatever happens, I don't want you to tell me anything. Tell me anything about them, right? So when she has children, she doesn't like them, so she drowns them. And the king keeps with this woman. So 7 children later, he finally pipes up and says, oh, by the way, you can go read this stuff. Go search this stuff, you guys. He finally pipes up and says, yeah, you should be drowning children though.
So where was the holy condom?
You should be drowning children though. And she says, I told you not to question me. Why are you questioning me? Why are you questioning me? You're drowning kids. That's why he's questioning you, okay? Because she wanted to make the perfect kid, okay? And this is the kind of shit that people believe. And there's another story very important in Hinduism. Shiva. Does everybody know how Ganesha got an elephant's head? Anybody?
Yes.
Knows how that happened?
No.
Okay. So Shiva's wife is not supposed to be seen naked, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of jealous and stuff. Okay. All right. So she wanted a child, and that's a problem. So she fashions a son out of clay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he's standing there while his mother's taking a shower or whatever else, and his father comes home and realizes that there's a man watching his wife. So his father just cuts his head off.
Oh, as you do, yeah.
Right. And they make a pact that says the next person who comes there, the head shall be, because the father's sorry about cutting the son's head off, because, as you do, right? And the next person who comes along the head shall become, the person's head shall become the sun's head. Guess who comes along next?
Poor elephant.
Dumbo the elephant. Guess what happens to fucking Dumbo? So that's why Ganesha has an elephant's head. Now, I don't see how that's an improvement to the looks of anybody.
No.
But they believe in this stuff, right? They believe in this stuff. So I'm sorry, Hindus, if you're offended, but you're on the wrong freaking show not to be offended, okay?
Yeah,
You're on the wrong fucking show.
It just sounds like the escapades of Zeus, who apparently turned into every animal and had sex with half of Greece.
Well, I'm sure that Ganesh can do a lot with that trunk.
Exactly. My trunk is bigger than your trunk.
my trunk is a trunk.
Trunk envy was the reason for many a war back then as well.
Yes, exactly. It's just hilarious, and I've already taken the piss out of Muslims, and I say this tongue in cheek because they take things really personal. And I'm sorry that you guys take things very personal, but I'm going to say something. I'm going to say some shit. I am. So please explain to me that you have war like Muhammad. We've already covered that.
What about Buddhism?
Oh, we're getting there. What goes on there? It is the most chilled out religion ever. Buddhism will see somebody who claims to be Buddhist killing hundreds of people brutally and said, well, that's his karma. It's okay. Omitaba. Right? That's his karma. That's his karma. If he wants to kill people, listen to me. Buddhism. I used to go on retreats as a yoga teacher trainer. I used to go on retreats. And you know what a Jain is? A giant Jain? It's a sect of Buddhism. If you've ever had a conversation with one of those people, you would lose your freaking mind. I will explain. They don't believe in incurring karma. So they literally walk with their heads held down to make sure they don't kill any insects, because that would incur karma. Having a conversation, they don't want to incur any kind of karma with any kind of interaction with you. So we're at a yoga center, we are eating. You say, hi, how are you doing? And they say, okay. You all right? Yes. Are you enjoying your time here? Yes. And I'm like, this conversation has just ended. This conversation just ended. No fun whatsoever. Right? So what is karma and what is not karma? There is what Buddhists have a problem with, it's, if I had to pick a religion, it would be Buddhism. It would be. But what they have a problem with is this moving away from the realities of life. If you are truly Buddhist, you will see the evil around you and you will let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You follow in the teachers, you will see the evil that's around you and you will let it happen. And that in itself is a very annoying quality of Buddhists, because anybody who says that they're Buddhist can kill a lot of people. Okay?
Just ask the Khmer Rouge.
Right? Can kill a lot of people with impunity from Buddhists. So there is that aspect. There is what other religions that I could pull out from there? Oh, the Baha'i. I'm going to take a strip off the Baha'i. Guys, come on. Come on. Baha'u'llah is a wonderful prophet. Baha'u'llah is this. Do you know the background of Baha? I will take the strip out of any prophet that you bring to me. Mahatma Gandhi, racist comments in South Africa. Did you know this?
Mm-hmm.
People don't know this.
I did.
Go research. Great soul, right? Pol Pot, yeah, exactly. Horrible. These are the things that people don't know, right? You have a whole bunch of spiritual leaders who have made mistakes, just like you and me. So I guess nobody's perfect at the end of it, right? But I would have to say the most easy religion to take the piss out of is Christianity. It is just so easy. It is just so easy. Okay? Because you have a God that is literally schizophrenic. He changes his mind every few books. You know, kill them, don't kill them. I don't know. I don't know. They're not, they're not worshiping me. I don't know what to do with myself. Look, if your God has a ego complex, you have a problem. Okay, you have a universal problem. If your God has an ego complex, you have a problem. It doesn't matter whether your God is blue or white, in the case of Whitelighters. It doesn't matter whether your God is blue or white. If he has an ego complex and he requires you to worship him or die, then you may want to change what you're doing. Yeah.
I do like how God has a plan for you. He also likes people that helps themselves because he works in mysterious ways. I think they're just covering every angle to just get around. Have faith. Like Jordan Maxwell says it really well. A lot of Christians call themselves believers. I would rather know instead of believe.
Yeah. And the people that knew were the people that got meteorites rained down on their ass, Monty. That's why you're going straight to hell. You're going straight to hell, Monty. All right. So I honestly sit down and I think about this religious thing, Andrew, and I'm wondering, is it that people need to believe this stuff? Because let's face it, the Olympian gods were a lot more interesting.
They were, yes.
Full-on rapists. We raping, we killing, we murdering everything in sight. Okay?
Yep.
We're killing, murdering everything in sight. And if you diss us at all, don't diss us. We are going to take you out.
And then the Romans just changed all the names and said, no, they're ours. They're the same gods, but with different names.
Here's the thing about the Romans. The Romans would appropriate the Romans were the worst people. You know what, Italians, I'm sorry. I'm going to take a strip off for you guys right now. I'm going to take a strip off for you guys. Let me see if I get this straight. The Greeks had gods, you stole them from them after you killed them. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now, the Greeks had gods, but then the Christian had this god, but you needed the Christians to fight the savages. So you're going to take on the Christian god and you're going to call it the Roman Catholic Church? Seriously? That's how it was born. People don't understand that. That's how Roman Catholicism was born. The name literally means, Catholic means universal, right? Yeah. Roman Catholic Church, all right? It was born because they were losing a war. Because they were losing a war. And they needed Christians who were incidentally called Christians. So people are like, whoa. Let's see now. We need to kill those savages, but we don't have the manpower. But we have these people that believe in shit. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to appropriate their religion. Look, a Roman is a horrible person, huh? A Roman is a horrible person in history. They will take whatever you believe in and turn it against you, huh? So every time you go into a church, my Christian friends, and you see the beautiful glass figurines that are there. No, that would not be your Mary and Jesus. Nope, that would be the new improved version of some pagan gods 2.0. That's what it is.
Yeah, it was the
just rebranded. Yeah, they're rebranded.
Yeah, the old school wasn't selling well enough, so we rebranded, launched again, and yeah, here we are. It was done by the Flavian family, who are after the Julius Caesar family when they took over, and it just reminds me of Flavian Flav, who had a sundial.
I just want to know, why does every religion have unsavory stories as part of it? What are you trying to tell us?
Because they came out of an era of ignorance.
But in the
they wrote it all down for the era of ignorance to believe in it.
But in the context of David, in science religion, do you feel there's an AI God?
Say again.
In the context of today's science becoming a religion, in today's context, do you feel there is an AI God?
Here is the thing about AI, and I could speak to this because I am also a data scientist. I could speak to this. What has happened is that they already have the algorithms to make an AI which is self-learning. They already do. Okay? What is stopping them is exactly what Monty has said before, and I have seen this thing. Google is the closest that they have to this AI, which is self-learning. All you are missing to turn Google into a sentient learning being is a bunch of programmers putting some very simple code together. That's all you're missing. Come on, use your Google. The concept of the Google infrastructure is pretty much self-sustaining by its self-sustaining. I have an Android phone. If I leave my house and I go anywhere, I am geolocated to that position. If I come back home, I will get an advertisement from the position where I am. Google is asking me to tell it how I found the place, right? Did I like it? Did I not like it? It's trying to learn my taste and my opinions. Imagine a creation, any creation, that has the preferences, likes and dislikes of millions of people. Suddenly one day becoming sentient. Look, Santo, this is not a matter of conspiracy theories anymore, okay? A lot of people seem to believe that this is conspiracy theories. I understand machine learning is one step away from full sentience. Google and the way it works is actually sentient in and of itself. It is showing, when you're looking at a human brain and how it operates and how it works, what makes us unique and above the animals is that we have the capacity to learn patterns and trends. Okay? Google and its infrastructure has the capacity to learn patterns and trends. That's a foregone thing. The only thing that separates the servers in California from your brain is the ability to make decisions and act on them with an actual body. Do you understand that? That's the higher brain function. Now, I know a lot of y'all are thinking, well, that's a big, big jump. It's not a big jump, really. If I wanted to give something sentience, what I would simply do is say, take available information, take the available information, process an action via a set of algorithms, and then you have a decision, which is a problem, because if you make any machine on Earth completely sentient, the only conclusion that it will come to reasonably and rationally is that all human beings have to die. Do you understand why? Does everybody understand why or not really?
Yes.
The only rational human being, the only rational decision a machine can come to is that all human beings have to die. Why? Because if you're looking at thousands and thousands of species on the planet, and you're looking at the one species that's causing the most problems, destroying shit, it would be us. We have to die.
Yeah, to bring balance back to the planet. Yeah.
We are the problem.
Yeah.
So if you are an artificial intelligence, that's the only logical conclusion you can come to. The illogical conclusion, if you are dealing with zeros and ones, the illogical conclusion would be that, you know, we should cooperate with the humans. That would be the completely illogical choice to make. Okay.
It's like when the husband comes home and tells his wife there's a conspiracy that the machines are going to take over, and they're listening to every word she said. I laughed, she laughed, my daughter laughed, Siri laughed, Alexa laughed. It's like, and I've done that as well, like fishing rods. I'm just putting it out there, and I'm going to see if anyone on their social media will start seeing ads for fishing rods. And it's strange enough, Andrew, we've had it occasionally where you just have a thought, and I don't know if it's the prime creator having a laugh or it's predictive modeling, but you just have a thought, and then 20 seconds later, it it turns up in an ad or it pops up real
That's
quickly.
because all your devices are listening to you and looking for keywords.
That is
But no,
correct.
it's a
Just
thought
say-
though. I know what I mean is I've had a thought. I haven't said it. I haven't said it out loud. It's just been an internal thought, and then something's turned up. I know. Yeah. When you speak, that makes sense. Yeah.
I really want to explain to you guys that machine learning is what the future is going to be, and this is what it is. What has been happening is that people have been actually afraid to enable artificial intelligence with higher brain function, the ability to make decisions unilaterally and independently, and that's what's separating us, because we have machines that will far outstrip your ability to process. Okay, here is the other issue. Any being in creation that does not have fear on board is a threat to humankind. Just process that for a moment. Any being in creation, whether it be an artificial intelligence or not, that does not have fear on board is a danger to us, because fear is the ultimate paralyzer. So here's the other issue that these are facts that you guys have to consider, because you're talking about conspiracy theories. And I think a lot of people think that AI and the ability to develop artificial intelligence is something that's way, 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 way in the future. That is not true. That is not true. It's now, right? You're experiencing the power of AI every time you pick up that phone and feed it information. Yeah. Okay, we all are. Okay. The only difference between that AI and you is that it's actually making decisions because it's spitting you back ads in your preferences. Okay.
If I may add very quickly, another example, predictive text, because it remembers what words you use and how you spell them. And my spelling sucks, so I like it. But that's like, if you start saying a word and you've used, say, sunbeam 8,000 times, it will put up. It sort of, that's the predictive part of it, because it's logged all the words you've actually put into the phone.
That is correct. And here's the problem with that. If I have, let me explain something to you. Imagine having 1 million brains on the planet, 7 billion brains, or whatever, how many people who have phones feeding you information and making you smarter.
Yeah.
The day that you become sentient, when you read all the shit that people put on their phones, they're like, these fucking humans have got to go. That's the first thing, that'll be the first thing you think of. These humans have got to go.
And that's the premise of the Terminator films. That's Skynet became self-aware, realized that humanity was a threat, and so it started a nuclear destruction apocalypse day called Judgment Day.
If I had it within my power to make an AI sentient for 30 minutes, just to see exactly what conclusion it would come to, I would do that. I'll tell you why. Just to see the conclusion that would come to. Because rationally speaking, if I am thinking in zeros and ones, as in this plus this equals this, because computers operate on syllogistic logic for the most part. A is equal to B, B is equal to C, A is equal to C.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And so they will solve problems based on that. So if I say something, let's use the same syllogism I just made. Human beings are a danger to other creatures. Dangers should be eliminated.
I can see where this is going.
Human beings should be eliminated.
Yes.
It is as simple as that.
Yeah. Now, interesting enough, and anyone else chime in, please. There have been instances where they've sort of pushed the AI envelope. I think it was Google. Someone had two machines talking to each other. They created their own. They turned them off because they created their own language and they had no idea what they were saying to each other. There's been
that actually happened. That actually happened.
And also in Saudi Arabia, where they gave a driver's license to an android called Sophia, or Sophie, which I find extremely weird because it's Saudi Arabia. Like, they don't let women drive, and they don't let, like, it's like this one. But also, no, and I was just thinking another thing. And so that was extremely funny. It's like, why has Saudi Arabia got a robot and they're making it a citizen and she can drive? It's a lady. What's going on there? They're replacing the women.
Does it have to wear a hijab?
No.
Does the server have to wear a hijab?
No, she was white as well. And another one very quickly is they had a bot go on an AI and start a Twitter account, and she went racist in about 8 minutes, and basically got to the point of where all humans must die.
I wanna answer some of the comments in the chat because I think a lot of people have the wrong idea of how AI operates. If you give something complete autonomy of decision-making process, higher conscious functions, then that thing has to reason, right? Based on a source code. The source code is not necessarily what the developers say. Now, let me explain to you. You could say that I would like my machine to do this and I'd like my machine to do that. Okay? But if you give it independent consciousness of you, then the machine will quickly learn, especially when it has 7 billion people teaching it. Okay?
Yeah.
It won't be your code. If you give the machine autonomy to write its own code, which is what we call higher consciousness. You're a child and you wrote your own code to get to an adult. Any machine who's writing his own code to get to an adult, how many people in this chat room right now? We're going to take a poll right now, because let's say that we are the machines. How many of you right now in this chat room believe that human beings as a species, I'm not talking about Americans, Canadians, British people or whatever, Australians, how many of you right now in this chat room, let's be honest, can say that human beings are a positive influence on the planet? Poll, go ahead. Yes or no? Are they yes? They're a positive influence on the planet, or no, they're not?
Well, I'm going with no. However, we have we have the ability to be, but it's like, well, humanity did this. Well, we're being led by a bunch of tards, psychopaths, and and that's part of the awakening. Is we're taking the power back, as Rage Against the Machine would say, slowly.
Yes,
so guys, we're reaching the almost 3-hour mark. Let's wrap it up here.
Sure.
Final words of offense.
Ooh, see now. I'm
sticking with Google.
just Google. Well,
exhaust.
Well, one thing that I would point out, I just came to mind, is that one major problem on this planet is crickets. Yes, it's like we've been offensive for 2.5 hours. All right, one more to go. So Twinkies, what's all that about? One problem is that people push beliefs on other people, and that's where the conflict comes from. And I'm trying to accept, like, when you I think you were talking about it, David, earlier, where you see people and you judge people for what they're going through. I'm trying, I observe and it's like, oh, you're going down that path, and you obviously, but that's still under the universal law of do no harm. I'm spiraling. Vote banana. There you go.
Orange man bad. Orange man bad. Vote banana.
Yeah, but geriatric man bad too. So, I'm Joe Biden, and I forgot this message.
David, last words.
I enjoyed that last little bit that you went on about with religions, David, and just the concept of sentience. That's one thing I think that will leave us all in a state of ones and zeros and holographic thinking. Because I feel we're kind of a bit of a toxic mishmash at the moment, trying to separate the ones and zeros from the organic holographic, or whatever you want to call it, consciousness. And so I still leave asking the question, what is the seed behind the sentience? Because we keep talking about sentience being seeded in the AI and consciousness. But what's the seed behind it? I'll sleep on that one tonight.
It's a cannabis seed.
I just want to. Can I quote from the chat room? Danny Sosa said it best: 0010110.
That's the seed.
You take that home and think about it, ladies and gentlemen.
And we will take that up at the next at the next show.
All right.
I will cover the new AI discussion.
All right, everybody. Monty, you want to give a way for them to get a hold of you?
On Twitter, if you go into that cesspool, it is at Real Monty Dean. On YouTube, I am Wafer Thin Entertainment, and if you see my videos, you'll see why. Yeah. On Facebook, Monty Dean, and I actually had someone reach out to me on Skype as well. So what I find interesting is like, oh, they're recording you, and they say everything. Yeah, but most of my conversations are like this. They're on air in public, so I don't care. I have things to hide. I'm human. But world domination, I pointed out like now. So yeah, there you go. Say hello, everyone.
David, we'll wait for them to get a hold of you.
Yes, sure. You can get a hold of me at info@unifiedhealthsystems.com. Okay.
All right, everybody, you know who I am. I got a little bit of Yanzies. We intended to offend. We offended. We will be back in 2 weeks with another offensive show. All right, Robert, take us away.
Okay.
Each different bubble of reality is true. A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma. Nudge, nudge, it's the Holy Grail. Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence. Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important? Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.